This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Sunday. What do you mean by the wet spot? Usually when people say the wet spot, that's like, you know, where the cum and the this is already starting off to be a disaster show. I apologize. Cancel Justin. Holiday, good evening. Law Dog, welcome in. We were chatting on Twitch before everything got started. Now yeah, you were walking around outside, so like I don't know what wet spot you're talking about. Fuzzy Simba, welcome in. We got a jam-packed show tonight, so don't let me ramble too long, because I will do that. Shit, I got all kinds of notes. We got flooding in Kentucky. 8 people are dead. Tim Walz took the polar plunge. Meanwhile, Trump took a lap around the Daytona International Speedway. Trump says Zelensky will be involved in the negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. The U.S. and Russia. Ukraine gets to be involved. Rubio was on Face the Nation this morning. J.D. Vance was over in Germany. He has been slammed by the German chancellor. We're going to catch you up on the Eric Adams saga if you don't know what happened there. Oh, my God. The Justice Department dismissing his charges was breaking last time I talked to you guys, like, Wednesday night. Mitch McConnell is worrying everybody with his feeble health. Representative Byron Donalds has been accused of voting fraud. FBI Director nominee Kash Patel accused of perjury. I missed out on the grilling of Linda McMahon to be the Secretary of the Department of Education. We're going to watch a clip of Tammy Baldwin grilling former WWE COO Linda McMahon. CEO, I don't know what she was. She was one of those C's. She's definitely a C. It got physical at one of the USAID hearings. Protesters got taken out. A pizza place owner taking some heat over boxes that celebrate Trump. Elon Musk might have a new kid. Sheryl Crow got rid of her Tesla. School in Ohio calling for an investigation into the neo-Nazis that demonstrated last week. We've got wild footage of a man who died at an Alabama lumber company. Horrific story of a trans man who was held by 5 people have been charged so far, held and tortured before his body was found. Heartbreaking story. Here's your meme of the day. Fucking Kanye needs to get back on his meds. Says he laughed when Fry's dog died. That's just despicable. Police are searching for a missing 4-year-old after a shooting on a tarmac. A cop was killed. Which part are you Jesus Christing, Byronic? Like, at this point in time. It could have been any number of the stories I have named off. It could be this meme. I'll laugh when Kanye dies. I'm totally down with that. They got multiple pileups. There was a multi-car pileup in Wyoming. Several crashes in Minnesota. We've got a building collapsing in Massachusetts. A snake was found inside a delivery of bananas in New Hampshire. A teen was rescued after they were climbing down a well or some shit and their rope broke. I'm going to tell you about the dangers of online romance scams. And it's the 50th anniversary episode of Saturday Night Live tonight. Daryl Hammond was making the rounds. I got an interview with him, all that, and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. Good evening. Icy streak in me, Mr. Balls? Are you serious? I am a compassionate, caring individual. Maybe, I don't know. I thought I was a sociopath when I was in high school. Like 18, 19-year-old, something like that. I guess I wasn't 19, and like I was actually really young. I was one of the young ones in school. I don't think I was like held back. I was still like 19 in high school. That's not how. When I was 18 or 19. God damn it! Am I too high or am I not high enough? I think it's just all teenagers are sociopaths. And I grew out of it. Now I can't see an animal without crying. Like a cat walks by outside, I'm like, oh baby, come let me pet you. Just dog, dude, and like it doesn't have to be a dog that's been like malnourished or anything. Just a dog on the screen. I'm like, oh, the baby. I guess that makes me an empath. I don't know. I don't feel the same way about you. It's weird, right? So I told Curiouser I was in this like macabre and blah 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 spooky, and it's like they show a lot of like crime scene photos and shit like that. She's like, "Why are you in that group?" And I was like, "Why wouldn't I be? Crime scene photos and shit. Come on, like I watch body cam footage and court stuff all the time." But she's right. Like I get the willies about medical shit, but for some reason people dying while committing a crime, I have some sort of weird non-sensitivity to. No, we've watched horrific shit. I cried on stream because fucking Uvalde was basically going on as we were like coming on stream, and like I'm crying as I'm reporting on it. I'm a dangerous man. Dangerous. I'm sorry. Cancel me. Cancel Justin. Let's get to the news, because there's a lot of news to be doing. We're starting off, this is my hometown. It has been really affected by this. The entire Appalachian region, once again. It flooded in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia just a few months back. This time it's Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, and it is devastating. At least 8 people are dead that we know
Last
of.
night I got a call from Secretary Noem.
This is Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
To help, and we've already seen that help today. And the president signed off on our request as quickly as we have ever seen a president sign off on our request. So thank you to President Trump for his assistance. Now, federal resources are available for impacted areas, helping us to better respond and support affected Kentuckians. Where we are right now is in the emergency response phase. This is the search and rescue phase. And I am very proud of all the Kentuckians that are out there responding, putting their lives on the line to help others. As we are here 24 hours into this natural disaster, we've already seen over 1,000 rescues. That means there's 1,000 plus Kentuckians that are safe, primarily because of the swift water boat teams, as well as so many other responders that are out there. Unfortunately, this disaster is taking a toll in terms of human life. Even with the incredible response that we've seen, we can confirm that we've lost at least 8 Kentuckians due to this weather event. They include an adult male in Hart County that was related to a motor vehicle accident, an adult male in Pike County that is floodwater related, an adult female in Hart County, also floodwater related, and with her a child in Hart County, also floodwater related. Another adult male in Pike County, an adult female in Washington County, an adult male in Clay County. Those were all floodwater related. And then another fatality related to a motor vehicle accident in Nelson County. We believe this number is going to grow. We hope it doesn't grow quickly or grow much larger, but one way that you can help us out to ensure we have as few fatalities as possible is don't get on the roadways. Now, give time for the water to go down. So many of these fatalities were due to attempts to drive through water and through moving water. So folks, stay off the roads right now and stay alive. We need your help. Today, we just got another 1/2 to 1 inch of precipitation, depending on where in the state you were. This was on top of all of the original projections. That was a mix of rain and snow. We may see some additional light and scattered snow across the Commonwealth today. There's another small system moving towards us, but shouldn't be as significant as what
the video you're watching is
like yesterday.
My fucking hometown.
More concerning are wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles an hour, especially for central.
That river doing that is like
Think about how wet
unthinkable.
the ground is. These gusts mean that we could have trees come down and limbs come down, and we're seeing that.
I've attended football games at that.
We expect
field.
isolated tree damage, uproots, and power outages because of the wind. And it's going to get even more complicated. I'll talk at the end about how Tuesday night,
I bought drugs
Wednesday night, we're going to have
in that
another
parking
round of
lot
snow
right
that is
over
going
there.
to, dump at least an inch and maybe up to 6 to 8 inches on parts of Kentucky. That will cause significant disruption and closures, especially depending on where we are in dealing with this flood at that point. This emergency phase we're in is going to last at least a couple more days. That's the type of event we're dealing with. And
that river is nowhere like. Usually it is
for
far away from that bridge.
At least getting things cleaned up. When we look at our operation,
oh, we went in the woods all the time. I'm from Eastern Kentucky.
We're pre-positioned throughout the state.
I grew up going up in the woods.
Immediately, and they are continuing it. We now have a USART team that is here in the EOC with us, and it has been a great addition. 19 active state swiftwater teams are currently in operation. Many of them are in Eastern Kentucky, but they've made rescues in multiple counties.
That river doing that is unthinkable.
They continue to go out and make rescue after rescue after rescue. We also have federal USAR teams from Indiana, Ohio, and Tennessee that are either operating or they're on their way. So thank you to those jurisdictions for lending a hand.
I have a hard time, articulating how insane that is.
A powerful storm brought heavy downpours, triggered deadly flash flooding all across Kentucky. Governor Andy Beshear says 8 people are confirmed dead after the system moved through last night and into today. 3 people died in Hart County. 1 man in a crash, and a woman and a child were actually swept away in floodwaters. Another man died in a crash in Nelson County. 2 men died from flooding in Eastern Kentucky and Pike County. A woman died in Washington County. Another man accidentally drowned in Clay County, and the state expects those numbers to rise. Ahead of those deadly storms, Governor Andy Beshear declared a state of emergency in Kentucky on Friday. Yesterday, the governor requested and President Donald Trump granted an emergency disaster declaration for the state. Southeastern counties were some of the hardest hit with flooding in Kentucky. This video shows conditions in Vergy. That's near the Kentucky-Virginia border. You can see flooding covered the entire road, actually preventing some travel for people. A little north of that, in Pikeville, Eastern Kentucky, drone video shows more intense flooding with buildings in portions of that town underwater. Governor Beshear addressed the destruction this afternoon.
Pike County's gotten hit really, really, really hard. Talked to Ray Jones, their county judge executive, yesterday. We got a lot of resources there and helping, but they're also doing a great job with their local emergency management. Hundreds of rescues have occurred in Pike County alone. They didn't get the worst of 2022. It appears that they're getting the worst of this 2025 flooding.
And people are still struggling tonight. Just west of Pikeville in Perry County, there was flash flooding near homes there. Road crews are out now diverting drivers away from those flooded roads. You can see cars submerged. Some people were seen trying to move to higher ground as the water came up. It is a similar scene in Letcher County. Streets are overflowing, cutting off travel to those living in that area. Many of the buildings are also flooded.
Several towns are completely cut off.
To evacuate to keep its residents safe. Luckily,
I do,
Mr.
Mr. Ball.
Everyone is safe tonight and out of harm's way.
Everybody's taken care of. They have the meds they need, the oxygen, the beds, the warmth. They don't have to worry about food and being scared. They're in a safe place, so.
In Hopkinsville, just north of Clarksville, Tennessee, emergency rescue crews have been responding to
I haven't talked to Battle Opossum today.
The day.
I probably should check in on him.
As you can see from pictures, the floodwaters are almost up to the windows of most vehicles in that city. And in Washington County, rescue crews were using rafts to help stranded drivers due to the flooding. Officials say
some
3
areas got
adults and
snow.
1 child were found stranded near Campground and Bloomfield Roads in Springfield. Luckily, emergency responders were able to get all 4 of them back to land safely. And Governor Beshear says there have been more than 1,000 water rescues, with more expected over the next 24 hours.
Just insane. I've got more footage to show some of the areas in Virginia. This is Tennessee. This is Gallatin, Tennessee. Tyler X Live, welcome in, my friends. Thank you for the raid, Raiders. Good evening. My name is JustinFREAKIN. We find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Good to see you, my friend. This is catastrophic flooding across Tennessee, Virginia, Kentucky. Energy Flow, welcome in. We'll get to the politics shortly. Bowling Green, Kentucky. Milf, good evening. Yes, never drive across water that is over a road. If it is completely over a road, it can sweep away your vehicle. Globus, good evening. This area is Western Kentucky. This is where I went to college the first time. Forms and caves. Michael, good evening. That's a very good question. T minus. I actually had a story about that, and I put it on the chopping block because the show was so overflowing tonight. Letcher County, Kentucky. Whole towns are cut off right now. Still, the city of Pikeville completely cut off. The two main highways. Everybody stocked up on their moonshine before the storm. I know my cousins. This is Madison County, Kentucky.
Whole entire
central part of the
trees have come
state.
down here and washed away.
Hurley, Virginia. It has been wind today. Holy shit, have we had high wind today. You can see how fucking high the water is.
2025.
It's almost to the roof of that bank. Indeed, balls. The Scottish and the Irish. A beautiful area in places. I mean, goddamn. Are they floating? Was that like a mobile home floating? Jesus Christ. So as I said, this happened north of where the Helene flooding happened just a few months ago. People in the Helene ravaged area saying they support shutting down FEMA despite the fact that they got aid via FEMA.
7.5 months pregnant when the storm hit. Emily Russell says it was like a scary movie.
The water started coming up the vents in the house where the basement had completely got overtook, and then you just started hearing parts of the house getting tore off over there, and it started kicking in the doors from the pressure of the water, and it was just crazy.
Lenny, good evening.
But as fast as
Thank you for the resub.
Floodwaters upended her world. Volunteers swept in to help put it back together.
We've had so many people just really bless our family, and we've had God with us every step of the way.
So when
God with him.
Donald Trump talks about abolishing the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Russell is just fine with it.
I mean, honestly, it's not helped a lot of us around here, so even if he got rid of FEMA, it wouldn't hurt or help us in any way.
Nearly 5 months after Helene tore through the foothills of western North Carolina, many wonder why more hasn't been accomplished.
Well, if this is the way they are, he ought to do away with them.
City and regional planning professor Miyuki Hino studies the impacts of climate change. She says most of this frustration comes from misconceptions about what FEMA's role actually is.
Federal assistance is really designed to meet immediate needs for habitability. So it is certainly not the case that FEMA is going to come in and put everything back to the perfect state that it was in before. They will be the first to tell you that your homeowner's insurance and your flood insurance should be your primary resources for recovering.
The agency says more than 153,000 North Carolina households are receiving Helene-related aid. 18,000 have received money to repair primary homes, and thousands more are staying in FEMA-funded housing. Russell complained about the Byzantine process for filing a claim.
I thought we were going to be lucky and get help from them because I filed it right away. We had an inspector out here within the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Parts of her claim have been rejected. Others are still listed as pending.
Government and FEMA-wise, there's been no help.
But Hino says there are strict rules to follow.
In the aftermath of disasters, a lot of the administrative steps that are taken are to ensure that assistance is going to eligible households for eligible costs. And those are processes that take time.
It's all the hoops that the Republicans put on it to make sure there's no fraud.
Bailey got the maximum loss amount, $42,500, and the offer of a FEMA trailer. But he says the money wouldn't buy him a real replacement, and the loaner doesn't cut it.
They say, oh, we'll get you a camper, but in 18 months they come and get it. How's that happening?
And this right here is how
42 grand in a camper for 18 months. What else do you want?
it's been put back. It was down level with the river. So.
Like Russell and Bailey, Vicki Revis
You want
lost
communism.
just about everything. And like them, she has volunteers to thank for what comfort she now enjoys.
Everything that we have here was donated, except my car, of course. It's the only thing that made it out of the flood is us in that car.
But unlike
BJW, not to sound callous, but man, like 42 grand and I would, goddamn, 42 grand in a trailer for 18 months. That sounds like, you know, a good leg up and a good start. Fuck. I don't. You're right, Michael. The liberals love means testing too. You're right. I mean, it like Bill Clinton was the one that did away with welfare.
Mouth FEMA.
They were good with me. I mean, I don't have any complaints. I mean, I guess they do the best they can, but maybe some people expect more or whatever.
I just. Ugh. While waters are rising, our former vice presidential candidate was taking a plunge in Minnesota. I can't believe people did this. My client that was in Antarctica, she did this shit. She plunged into the water. Oh my God, why?
Temperatures weren't cold enough. Hundreds of Minnesotans.
Why do people do this?
Frigid lake water, but of course, it was all for a good cause. Special Olympics Minnesota continued their polar plunge fundraiser this week. Leading the charge, as always, Fox 9's Ian Leonard.
I just give them money.
All the fun in Prior Lake.
Can I just give you money and not jump in the frigid water?
Number 4 of our Polar Plunge Tour extravaganza. Today we find ourselves literally in Prior Lake. Over 1,200 plungers. This has become one of our biggest polar plunges on the tour, raising $300,000 today. Of course, it wouldn't be complete without a special guest, and what better guest than Governor Tim Walz? He said for years everyone has told him to go jump in a lake.
I think they just
pretty much my life story too.
Jump in. I don't think there's a contest or anything.
How do we feel?
Just got the video. Freezing.
It's freezing cold.
Freezing.
It's the first time, but how does it feel?
Oh, it's incredible. Thanks to all the folks who are out here raising money for an incredible...
I wouldn't want to do the ice bucket challenge. Let me just give you money.
Tessa, she's the best.
It's unbelievable. At this point, you're probably really mad at me because I'm holding you here, right?
Yes, let's go get warm.
But this is how you feel. Okay, you guys go get him. Governor, give me some love. How does it feel to do this?
It's incredible. It's the best way you can spend it. These athletes are incredible. Next year we have the 2026 National Games in Minnesota. All the folk pitching in, and I said I think about half the state's been wanting me to do this every day, jump in the lake. So whoops, I did her.
Hey Tim, go jump.
Whoops, I did her.
Let's take a picture.
Let's do it.
There we go, and tell everybody out there what they should do next Saturday.
Yeah, get involved. There's not too late. Get on a team, jump, come watch, give some support.
I love it.
2, 1, jump!
I bet there's a lot of hard nipples there.
A titty slap.
Come on now.
Tim Walz was taking the plunge. Trump was taking a lap around Daytona. This is earlier today. Today was the The Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Attended the Super Bowl last week. I had an article that said something like Trump has took like a historic number of vacation days so far. And I sent it to some dumb fuck right winger that I was arguing with about vacation days. There we go. Let's see the beast get on the track. You know what this feels like? Feels like he's still campaigning. Was it 20 million total, Shelley? I saw that just to operate the planes and the security was like 5 or 6 million. So I can imagine it comes out to like 20 million total. Yeah, this is like as fascist as it can get. Pageantry. That is a sign of fascism. Appeals to nationalism. The whole red, white, and blue land. Gulf of America. Those are just appeals. Nationalistic symbols. Am I wrong? Does this not feel like it's him still campaigning? Kanye, good evening. Oh, wait a minute. Does he not get to get up on the track? Looks like Secret Service is up on the track. Because if you're gonna go on the fucking track, I want to go like up on the racing line. But that's just me, and I was a racing fan. I spent the afternoon playing Gran Turismo, so. Oh, you might be right clinically. Oh, there he goes. Couldn't go up on the corners. Maybe it's too top heavy to go up on the corners, so it has to go on the flat. Okay, that's cool. So we're on the back stretch now. The Daytona 500 was still going on when we were coming on. I don't even know who any of the drivers are anymore. I haven't watched it religiously in like 15 years. He did do a press conference when he landed in Daytona. He talked about Zelensky and his involvement in the Ukraine peace deal.
Sir, did you speak to Secretary Rubio this morning?
I did.
What is the latest with the negotiations in Saudi Arabia? What's the biggest?
We're moving along. We're trying to get a peace with Russia, Ukraine, and we're working very hard on it. It's a war that should have never started.
Do you expect Zelensky to be involved in these conversations? What will his role be?
I do. He will be involved, yes.
Mr. President, would you allow Europeans to buy U.S.-made weapons for Ukrainians?
Yeah.
Sir, Zelensky said today that
Yeah, I will.
he's going to wage war on NATO. Do you agree with that? Do you have any concerns about?
No, I don't agree. Not even a little bit.
Vice President Vance said that the United States would potentially take military action against Russia if they won't come to an agreement. Do you agree with that stance?
I don't know if that's what he said. I don't think he said that.
I don't think he said that.
Your conversations, based on your conversations with President Putin, what do you think he wants ultimately in Ukraine?
I think he wants to stop fighting. I see that. We spoke long and hard. Steve Witkoff was with him for a very extended period, like about 3 hours. I think he wants.
So Witkoff's on the case.
They have a big, powerful machine. You understand that? And they defeated Hitler and they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been fighting a long time. They've done it before. And but I think he'd like this. I think he would like to stop fighting.
Do you think he wants the whole of Ukraine, or just like what do you think he wants?
No, I think he wants to stop. That was my question to him, because if he's going to go on, that would have been a big problem for us, and that would have caused me a big problem because you just can't let that happen. I think he wants to end it, and they want to end it fast, both of them. And Zelensky wants to end it too.
Sir, when do you think that can actually happen? When do you think the fighting can stop?
Well, we're working to get
long and hard.
It's too bad it started.
You live in sexual anarchy.
Before it started, right? But it started because we had an incompetent president that he didn't know what he was doing. That should have never started. Man. That war was so easy to stop.
Had an incompetent president?
Under Bush, they took a lot. Under Obama, they took a lot. Under Biden, they're trying to take the whole thing. And under Trump, they took nothing. Nothing was gone. Not even a little bit. So it's too bad. It's really too bad. A lot of people are dead right now that should be alive, and a lot of cities are destroyed that can never come back like they were. Those beautiful golden domes and all of the multicolored domes that were 1,000 years old, they're all laying in, just shattered. So it's very sad. They ruined the culture.
You sad about the domes? I'm not sure what he's talking about, but I guess Ukraine had a lot of domes. But according to the representative from Texas, Trump isn't sold out to Putin.
He's good at flattering people in order to get them to the table. That is what we need. Whether we like it or not, that's what we need.
But flattering a very brutal dictator who's pretty cunning, frankly, you really think that's a winning strategy?
Well, he's not that cunning. He's fought a war that has destroyed his society, killed hundreds of thousands of Russians. He's made a massive mistake and miscalculation. He's not as clever as maybe we've given him credit for. I think let Trump do his campaign promise and play this out. Look, nobody's going to take advantage of Donald Trump. And in General Kellogg made that very clear, because that was a question Europeans asked him. Are you going to sell out just to get a deal, because of the campaign promise? And Kellogg just laughed at that. He's like, there is no way, there is absolutely no way that Donald Trump will be seen, and he will not let himself go down in history as having sold out to Putin. He will not let that happen. He believes just for the sake of his own legacy. Right. But he does care about lasting peace here and lasting European peace.
But
I would give anything in the world to piss in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. Give me that eye pussy, sir. He is not Putin's puppet, according to Dan Crenshaw. Let's hear from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He was on Face the Nation. He is apparently in Jerusalem right now.
Marco Rubio, who is in Jerusalem on the second leg of his trip through Europe and the Middle East. Mr. Secretary, I know it's the evening hours there and you've had a long day.
I appreciate you guys supporting my endeavor.
You've got
to piss in Dan Crenshaw's eye pussy.
Earlier with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
I'm not high enough for this shit. Light one up, tip one back.
Administration, but he can't share details on, quote, when the gates of hell will be open if all of our hostages are not released. Did he tell you he wants to keep talks going to get to phase 2 of this hostage deal?
Well, I think we share a common goal. We want to see every hostage released. Frankly, I think, and the president has said this, we want to see them out as soon as we possibly can. And certainly, you know, the world has watched these images of people, and it's just heartbreaking to remember that some of them have been now almost 2 years there. It's a horrifying situation. So we coordinate and work very close with them. We share the goal that every hostage needs to come home, every single one, without delay. Obviously, there are details of how we're pursuing that and coordinating that we're not going to share publicly because we don't want to endanger the hostages and we don't want to endanger this process. But suffice it to say that if it was up to us, every one of these hostages would be home right now, and we want it to happen as soon as possible.
He looks very tired. I guess he's jet lagged. He's in Israel.
Again, we want every hostage out as soon as possible. We will, and we want to see them home. There are some that are supposed to, under the deal, there are some that are supposed to be released coming up next weekend. We expect that to happen, but we'd like to see them all come out. We're not in favor of waiting weeks.
Is that the look of a man who realizes like the gravity of the job that he has been assigned to do? This is his first trip abroad. This is like his very first stop is Israel. So that's a man with a lot of weight on his shoulders.
Weeks and weeks. Now that may be the process that's in place because of the deal, but we would like to see them all out as soon as possible, and we continue to coordinate. And that's what we'd like to see is the outcome. Who wouldn't want all these hostages to be home and with their families?
Understood. Want to ask you about Iran as well. President Trump has said he wants a diplomatic deal with Iran. Are you reaching out to them? And alongside that, does the U.S. support a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran to take out its nuclear program?
Ooh, I like the way you think, Energy Flow.
Well, first of all, Israel will always have to act in what they believe is their national interest and their national defense. And so I'm not going to speak about whatever strategies they may have on this or any other topic. I will say that we don't have any outreach from Iran. We haven't seen any. And ultimately, we've seen in the past that efforts that Iran has undertaken diplomatically have been only about how to extend the time frame, but continue to enrich and in addition to sponsor terrorism, in addition to build these long-range weapons, in addition to sow instability throughout the region. But let's be clear, there's been zero outreach or interest to date from Iran about any negotiated deal. Ideally, yeah, I would love to wake up one day and hear the news that Iran has decided not to pursue a nuclear weapon, not to sponsor terrorism, and re-engage in the world as a normal government. We've had no indication of any of that, not just now, but for 30 years.
The United States going to do those things?
You head from Israel to Saudi Arabia next. I know you'll be talking about Gaza, but we've also learned that Saudi Arabia is trying to facilitate this diplomacy with Russia about Ukraine. Which Russian officials do you expect to be?
Do you hear the sigh from Rubio?
What will the focus of your talks there be? Do you actually believe Vladimir Putin is ready to negotiate and make concessions?
Well, here's what I know. I know President Trump spoke to.
I don't know what you relative holiday.
And, in it, Vladimir.
Better is relative in this situation. I think the best case scenario was like the Iran nuclear deal that we were in. I think that was where we were best positioned, and like a head towards normalizations with Iran. But if you're not gonna let them, normalize trade and everything, then
Putin expressed.
I don't understand our moral high ground to tell them they can't have them.
His desire to see an end to this conflict in a way that was enduring and that protected Ukrainian sovereignty.
Lateral.
Enduring peace, not that.
Good evening, my friend.
In 3 or 4 years. That's a good call. Now, obviously, it has to be followed up by action. So the next few weeks and days will determine whether it's serious or not. Ultimately, one phone call does not make peace. One phone call does not solve a war as complex as this one.
Did I get your name right? Or is it Lathriel?
In the world that could potentially begin that process. Other leaders have tried. They have not been able to do so. When he ran in his campaign and he was elected as president, one of his promises was he would work to bring an end to this conflict in a way that's sustainable and fair.
Call me whatever the fuck. I like it. I'll smoke to that.
This is the first step in that process, but we have a long ways to go. Again, one call doesn't make it. One meeting wouldn't make it. There's a lot of work to be done. But I thought it has, even the longest journey begins with the first step. So we'll see what happens from here. Hopefully good things.
Who will you be meeting with?
Well, nothing's been finalized yet. I was scheduled to be in Saudi Arabia anyways. We announced that trip a week ago and a week and a half ago. So Ultimately, look, if at any point in time there's an opportunity to continue the work that President Trump started last week to begin to create an opening for a broader conversation that it would involve Ukraine and would involve the end of the war and would involve our allies all over the world.
If more guns make Americans safer, more nukes make the world safer.
I don't have any details for you this morning other than to say that we stand ready to follow the president's lead on this and begin to explore ways, if those opportunities present itself, to begin a process towards peace. Now, a process towards peace is not a one-meeting thing. This war has been going on for a while.
Right.
It's difficult. It's complicated. It's been bloody.
Flash, that's why I think that's why I was commenting on like the weight on his shoulders and the look in his eye. He looks like he's so fucking tired because he's like the only competent one. That's why he flew through the Senate.
It's been costly, so it will not be easy to end a conflict like this. And there are other parties at stake that have opinions on this as well. The European Union has sanctions as well. The Ukrainians are obviously fighting this war. It's their country and they're on the front lines. So one meeting isn't going to solve it. But I want to reiterate, the president made clear he wants to end this war. And if opportunities present themselves to further that, we're going to take them if they present themselves. We'll see what happens over the next few days.
But to be clear, Keith Kellogg, who is the envoy appointed to help with these talks, says these are going to be parallel.
Matthew, is there anything you can tell us about Russia?
And Russians aren't talking to each other yet. When you meet with your Russian counterpart, whoever that is, are you going to be sitting there arguing Ukraine's position?
Well, first of all, I think what we have to understand is right now there is no process.
Right.
What we have right now is a call between Putin and President Trump in which both sides expressed an interest in ending this conflict. I mean, imagine there will be follow-up conversations to figure out what a process to talk about that.
Who makes Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
That's
the only
begin to share more details.
Cereal company I care about.
I know there's been a lot of reaction to it because there's been no conversation about it, any serious conversation. But I want to go back to the point I made. President Trump ran. He was very clear. He thinks this war needs to end. And if he sees an opportunity to end it, which is what he's looking for, whether there is an opportunity or not, we're going to pursue it. Ultimately, it will reach a point when if it's real negotiations, and we're not there yet, but if that were to happen, Ukraine will have to be involved because they're the one that were invaded. And the Europeans will have to be involved because they have sanctions on Putin and Russia as well. And they've contributed to
I know, isn't that wild, Energy Flow?
But hopefully we will be, because we'd all like to see.
Because I'm so fucking horny for Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
The last administration did have contact through the intelligence agencies with Russia, but they didn't believe there was any proof that Vladimir Putin was interested in talks. You know the history.
Are you saying you love some Rice Krispies, the cereal, or that you love some Rice Krispie treats? Because I could give a fuck less about that cereal. That cereal is horrible. You can feed that to the horses. But you give me a fucking Rice Krispie treat, oh my God. Oh yeah. Rice Krispie treats are the shit. I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I love Rice Krispie treats. Now I'm going to get hungry. Cocoa Pops. You know, I've never given Cocoa Pops a chance because I always go with Cocoa Pebbles. I always go with Cocoa Pebbles.
History with Vladimir Putin. He likes to use diplomacy as a cover to distract while he continues to wage war. Do you trust that this time is different?
Yeah, I don't think in geopolitics anyone should trust anyone. I think these things have to be verified.
You have Cinnamon Toast Crunch powder on it?
I said yesterday that peace is not a noun, it's a verb. It's an action. You have to take concrete steps towards it. What I can tell you is I know of no better negotiator in American politics than President Trump.
Yeah.
I think President Trump will know very quickly whether this is a real thing or whether this is an effort to buy time. But I don't want to prejudge that. I don't want to foreclose the opportunity to end a conflict that's already cost the lives of hundreds of thousands and continues every single day to be increasingly a war of attrition on both sides. I think everyone should be celebrating the fact that we have an American president that is seeking to promote peace in the world, not start wars, but end them in a way that's enduring. That's something we should be happy about, whether it's possible or not. We're certainly willing, but it's not entirely up to us, obviously, but we'll find out.
Well, you did speak in a phone call with Russia's top diplomat, Sergei Lavrov. The Russian side claimed that you discussed restoring trade, which seemed to be a nod to sanctions.
Does the chat want to do news, or does the chat want to talk about breakfast cereals? Do you want me to go get my gigantic box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Oh my God, Zon. I had a girlfriend in high school, and I probably treated her horribly, but she always said Fruit Loops, and I would make her say it to people like it was a party trick and shit. Fruit Loops. I'd be like, "What's your favorite cereal?" Fruit Loops are good, but I like Fruity Pebbles better. I got that troll energy. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Fruit Loops do smell good. God damn it. Back to the news. We got serious shit to talk about.
Easing restrictions on diplomats and other gestures like a high-level leaders meeting. Are you actually considering, is the Trump administration considering lifting sanctions on Russia?
Well, the phone call was to establish communications that are consistent with the call the president made last week with Vladimir Putin. Because if there is going to be the possibility of progress here towards peace, we are going to need to talk to the Russians. I mean, that is going to have to happen, and we're going to have to be able to do it across our channels.
About lifting
also
sanctions,
raised in that conversation concerns that. Well, we didn't go into any details. I mean, what we just discussed is basically the ability to begin communicating. I've never spoken to Mr. Lavrov in my life, so it was an opportunity for us to begin to open that channel of communication, which again, if there's the potential for peace here, that's a channel that has to exist. But let me add one more thing. I also raised the issue of our embassy in Moscow, which operates under very difficult conditions. I raised that because it's important. It's going to be very difficult to engage in communication with Russia about anything if our embassy is not functioning. And he raised concerns about his diplomatic mission in the United States. So at a very basic level, if in fact there is going to be an opportunity here to pursue peace by engaging with the Russians, we're going to need to have functional embassies in Moscow and in Washington, D.C. And that's certainly something foreign ministers would talk about as a matter of normal course.
I want to ask you about what happened in Munich, Germany at the security conference. Vice President Vance gave a speech, and he told U.S. allies that the threat he worries about the most is not Russia. It is not China. He called it the threat from within, and he lectured about what he described as censorship, mainly focusing, though, on including more views from...
We're actually going to get to that here in just a second. But I'm going to cut them off. So my number 1 is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. My number 2 is Fruity Pebbles. My number 3, and this is going to be out of left field for you. I don't even remember what it's called off the top of it. It's the square... like fucking old oats thing. It's like a square, crackling oat brand. Crackling oat brand. I like crackling oat brand. I don't know that I've ever had Wheaties. Captain Crunch. I don't think I like Captain Crunch. I don't like raisins that much. I'm okay with raisins. So I wasn't into the Raisin Bran Crunch. No, they had the little crackling oat brand. They were sweet and they're oaty. They're oaty. That would be my third favorite cereal. Honey Bunches of Oats is all right, but it never had enough Honey Bunches. Marco Rubio was asked about J.D. Vance in Germany. I cut him off because that's what we're getting ready to talk about next. Here was J.D. Vance in Germany.
I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we gather at this conference, of course, to discuss security, and normally we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50
I think Adam Smith Connor was one of the people that fought the Terminator.
meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands.
Get the fuck away from the abortion facility.
Prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government...
Yeah, it's Europe. They spent an hour and a half asking them to move.
Houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat.
The motherfucker was loitering and wouldn't go away.
In the interest of comedy, my friends, but also in the interest of truth, I will admit that sometimes the loudest voices for censorship have come not from within Europe, but from within my own country, where the prior administration threatened and bullied social media companies to censor so-called misinformation. Misinformation like, for example, the idea that coronavirus had likely leaked from a laboratory.
Wow.
Our own government encouraged private companies to silence people who dared to utter what turned out to be an obvious truth. In Washington,
he's upset about social media.
A new sheriff in town. And under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree. In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more all over Europe, they're voting for political leaders who promise to put an end to out-of-control migration. Now, I happen to agree with a lot of these concerns, but you don't have to agree with me. I just think that people care.
The German chancellor slammed J.D. Vance's comments. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz sharply rebuked U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance on Saturday, a day after Vance gave a speech, saying European leaders should not shun far-right political parties. The second day of the Munich Security Conference, Scholz spoke about the atrocities of the Holocaust, pointing out that Vance recently visited Dachau concentration camp and used the phrase never again. Scholz emphasized that a commitment to never again also applies to political parties like Germany's far-right Alternative for Germany Party, also known as AfD, which has downplayed the horrors of the Nazi regime. He went on to say Germany will not accept outsiders intervening in the country's elections, adding this is not done, certainly not among friends and allies. Both Scholz and Vance's remarks come just over a week before Germany heads into a major election. The AfD, which has been endorsed by Trump advisor and billionaire Elon Musk, is polling in second place. Founded in 2013, AFD is a nationalist party whose political identity centers around blaming immigrants for many of Germany's problems. Germany's domestic intelligence agency has put the AFD under surveillance for suspected extremism, which the party denies. Last year, the group became the first far-right party since the Nazis during the World War II era to receive the most votes in a state election. But it is yet to be part of a federal governing coalition as a result of a pact, also known as Firewall, by other parties to refuse to work with the AFD. On Friday, Vance did not mention the AFD directly, but said German parties should drop the firewall, much to the surprise and concern of European leaders in the room. Europeans, the people have a voice, Vance said in the speech. You can embrace what your people tell you, even when it's surprising, even when you don't agree. Vance also met with AFD leader Alice Weidel on Friday. He separately met with German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, Friedrich Merz, the head of the center-right Christian Democratic Union Party, as well as Schultz this past week. Yeah, the firewall against the Nazis. You drop the firewall against the Nazis, said J.D. Vance. Makes total sense for him to say that. We're going to get you caught up on what all... this is an insane fucking story of what happened at the end of last week when it comes to the Justice Department and Mayor Eric Adams. We're going to go to Amy Goodman at Democracy Now!
We begin today's show here in New York, where the top federal prosecutor and 5 other high-ranking Justice Department officials have resigned, refusing to implement the Trump administration's order to dismiss corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. In a stunning letter, the acting interim U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York,
I'm not high enough for this shit,
said dropping the case against Mayor Adams would be, quote, inconsistent with my ability and duty to prosecute federal crimes without fear or favor and to advance good faith arguments before the courts, unquote. Sassoon was appointed by Trump, is a longtime member of the Federalist Society, and she clerked for Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Sassoon's letter was addressed to Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bovee.
and she can also be my GOP mommy.
Defense attorneys in his New York State criminal trial last year. Bovee sent the memo Monday ordering the charges to be dismissed because they, quote, unduly restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources, unquote, to help with Trump's immigration crackdown. In her letter, Sassoon said Adams and his lawyers, quote, repeatedly urged what amounted to a quid pro quo. After Sassoon refused to drop the charges, Justice Department officials moved the case from New York to the Public Integrity Section in the Criminal Division of the Justice Department. That led to more prosecutors resigning.
Straight up corruption.
Came after Adams met Thursday with Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, to discuss the possible reopening of an ICE office inside New York's Rikers Island jail. Protesters rallied in Manhattan to condemn ICE. This is a Nicaraguan asylum seeker.
I'm a Nicaraguan citizen. I came to this country looking for opportunity, the opportunity that was taken away from me in my country, the opportunity for freedom of speech, and to work here and to be a contributing citizen. The U.S. has taken away the liberty that Nicaragua has also taken away. All I ask for is freedom.
For more, we're joined by Ron Kuby, criminal defense and civil rights lawyer based here in New York. Well, this is amazing. It seems to be almost an echo of the Saturday Night Massacre when Nixon tried to get
Kubi would totally smoke some weed with us.
Justice Department. We'll talk about that in a minute. But explain the significance of the interim U.S. attorney in New York, the Southern District, often called the Sovereign District, and the significance of that. Her resigning, followed by 5 other top attorneys.
Well, at the outset, it's an illustration that you don't have to comply under these circumstances. Rather than become a Trump toady, which is one option, you can quit your job, and obviously Danielle Sassoon has many other opportunities awaiting her. She was clearly a rising star on the right until she ran afoul of the Trump administration on this issue. And so it's a good illustration for people who are considering their career over the next 4 years, for them to say, federal prosecutors to say, you know what, I'm just not going to go along with this. I am going to resign. I'm not going to carry out these duties. And it illustrates sort of a hollowing out of the more competent attorneys in the Justice Department, which just makes it that much harder for the Trump administration to sort of carry out its agenda against activists, against public officials, and against other people who cross it.
I mean, this is amazing. In her letter to Attorney General Pamela Bondi a day before, Sassoon argued the law doesn't support a dismissal, adding she's confident that Adams has committed the crimes with which he's charged. She also accused Adams' lawyers of repeatedly urge what amounted to a quid pro quo, indicating Adams would be in a position to assist with the department's enforcement priorities only if the indictment was dismissed. Explain what it means to be dismissed without prejudice, that every day, if Adams doesn't do what Trump wants, for example, around immigration, the case could be brought back against him.
That's right. This is the sort of club hanging over the head of Mayor Adams throughout the rest of his tenure as mayor. And even if he does do what they want, they could still bring back the charges. This is not an administration that's known for its consistency or loyalty, but clearly he knows that he has to get on board, otherwise he may be on a train to some federal prison. And that's explicit in the directions given by the Justice Department. And you can see Adams racing to comply. I mean, the quo was being supplied really fast after the quid here.
I mean, that's really important. Yesterday, you have Sassoon saying, this is a quid pro quo, and she said the top Justice Department official under Bondi, right, and let's remember, Emil Bovee was the personal attorney for Trump, as well as the man who looks like he's about to be confirmed, who will be right above him, Todd Blanche, in a meeting, who took away the notes of the lawyers who took notes. She said it was extremely clear that he wanted Adams to engage in the quid pro quo. So yesterday you have a meeting with Homan saying he's instituting an ICE office in Rikers Island.
So the Justice Department historically has always carried out the policies of the President of the United States. You go all the way back to the 50s during the Red Scare. The Southern District executed the Rosenbergs. You can go through COINTELPRO in the 60s. In the 80s, the sanctuary prosecutions initiated by Reagan, Bush's invasion of Panama to arrest Manuel Noriega. You know, some administrations do more, some administrations do less, but it's always political. So, you know, to that extent, this is not unusual. But what makes this different is it's explicit. At least in the past, the Justice Department went to pains to say this is not a political decision. We are making these decisions solely on the basis of the law. We don't initiate or decline prosecutions based on the political policies of the people who are being targeted, et cetera, et cetera. There's no fig leaf anymore.
So let's go back to what was known as the Saturday Night Massacre. During a single evening on Saturday, October 20th, 1973, Nixon ordered Attorney General Elliot Richardson to fire Archibald Cox, who was the special prosecutor investigating.
He said Cox.
Richardson refused and resigned. So Nixon then ordered Deputy Attorney General William Ruckelshaus to fire Cox. He refused, and then he ordered the Solicitor General Robert Bork to fire Cox. He agreed.
And Robert Bork never lived down that particular bit of ignominy. That's the reason he never became a Supreme Court justice, because of his role in that.
So he got Bork.
And here, eventually, sooner or later, as you go through the Southern District, you will find some lawyer willing to file a motion with the court to dismiss these charges.
So they might file. I mean, it could be Emil Bovee himself or some guy from, or a woman from somewhere else in the country who comes in to argue. But couldn't the judge refuse?
In theory, the judge could refuse to dismiss the charges because that's always up to judicial discretion. But if the judge refuses, then what? The Justice Department says, we are not prosecuting, we are not going forward, so, okay, dismiss, don't dismiss, but nothing is happening with this case, and eventually the defense would move to dismiss on speedy trial grounds, and that would have to be granted. So this is effectively going to be the end of the case once the administration finds somebody sufficiently spineless to actually file the papers.
So New York
I think
City
they did, didn't they?
But New York Governor Kathy Hochul has the power to remove New York City Mayor Eric Adams. She spoke on MSNBC on Rachel Maddow's show last night.
This is not supposed to happen in our system of justice. The Bondi administration in that Department of Justice is already showing they're corrupt.
She looks like she was created by AI, does she not? That's not a real woman. That is a hologram of a woman or something. I don't like, there is something weird about her. It's like Uncanny Valley.
Now, set that aside. I did see the letter that was issued by the acting...
She's an animatronic.
The allegations are extremely concerning and serious.
Yes.
But I cannot, as the governor of this state, have a knee-jerk, politically motivated reaction like a lot of other people are saying right now. I have to do it smart, what's right, and I'm consulting with other leaders in government at this time.
So, Ron Kuby, your response to the governor, what does that mean?
Yeah, it means I'm not removing him now. I may remove him in the future. I may not. I have to have a lot of discussions and conferences. You don't want me just going off and doing something like that just because of all of this, the kind of unraveling of
dilly-dally, shilly-shally.
Take some time and think. It doesn't mean anything. It's sort of typical Governor Hochul when she's confronted with an unpleasant reality.
Democracy Now! Is
I don't like Hochul.
Viewers like you.
We're going to have to put up with her, too. She's going to be in, like, the 2028 pool, isn't she? If there is a 2028. Mitch McConnell voted against RFK. Voted against, was it Vaught? Russell Vogt. Has health concerns.
New concerns tonight for the health of Republican Senator Mitch McConnell.
How are you feeling, Leader McConnell?
In video shot by CNN, the 82-year-old former Senate Majority Leader in a wheelchair lifted up by an aide into a waiting car outside the Capitol complex Monday night after 2 falls there just last week.
I see what you did, Balls.
Caution. Those falls, the latest in a growing list of concerning health moments. McConnell had a series of apparent freezes before the cameras in recent years.
And a string of...
starting with a 19-second pause during this July 2023 press conference.
If it's consistent and he's not able to actually communicate and make his points, then I don't see him. I think he should step aside.
McConnell is serving his 7th term in the Senate, first elected to the upper chamber back in 1984. And while he stepped down from Republican leadership last year,
one of life's most underappreciated talents is to know when it's time to move on to life's next chapter.
He has still not announced whether he will run for an 8th term next year.
Red Wine, welcome in.
Several lawmakers
Thank you for the sub.
Raising questions about how old is too old to serve. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, now a backbencher, still represents her San Francisco district at 84. They're
she needs to get the fuck out of there.
40 years older than their median constituents. And they're not alone. 86-year-old Congresswoman Maxine Waters is a full 50 years older than the median resident in her southern L.A. district. and Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley.
I love Maxine, but she gotta go.
91 has almost 52 years on the median Hawkeye State.
Shit, red one.
That the
Thank you for throwing out the gift subs.
Office in advanced age, past the retirement age, past where we see most people working, is to maintain power and all the benefits that come with it.
In 2023, California Senator Dianne Feinstein
Thank you very much, my friend.
to retire before the end of her term after several health scares and a moment where she
Bernie's the only one that can say.
A committee vote.
Yeah, just say aye. Okay, just.
Let's get high. That's worthy of a bong rip.
The oldest member in either chamber of.
We have a geriatrician problem. Is that the word, geriatrician? Octogenarian? You're welcome. I took great pleasure in making Critically Thinking Veteran cry. I enjoyed that thoroughly. I do that shit just for the love of it. And here's the thing. Like, I go over to their chat and they're like, we've got rules you got to agree with, blah, 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 blah. My Discord is open. My phone, you guys see it. It's down in the title. Anybody can hop in anytime. I don't put conditions. I don't tell people rules they got to follow. Come in, argue with me, bitch. I'm glad you enjoy me. You guys want to smoke with me? You want to smoke? If you're new to the chat, we find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Here's a song that explains what we do around here. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked, sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news beat doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the call.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, quick panic attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in Discord, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
Right-wingers are morons.
Light one it and hit one back. One more click before we hit the set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but he takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for JustinFREAKIN.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Not high enough for this shit.
It was totally like a honeypot for right-wing podcasters. Light one up, tip one back. You heard the woman. That one is for the media winch for that awesome song. Allowed me to go to the bathroom, refill my tea, because we got a long way to go. We got a lot of news. yet to cover. So we got a couple of scandals we're gonna look into here. Representative Byron Donalds. He's been making waves in right-wing media. He's one of their up-and-comers in Congress. He has been accused of voter fraud.
Congressman Byron Donalds
I am a tea
accused of
person.
voter fraud after he voted last week in Washington, but wasn't actually in person to cast the vote.
Democrats say he voted by proxy, something he has said he wants to get rid of.
Freckle-faced strawberry.
Political reporter Dave Elias explains how this happened.
Well, let me explain proxy voting. It means that you could be sitting anywhere, perhaps on a beach, enjoying your favorite drink.
He's day drinking.
Casting a vote on the floor of the House and Senate. Congressman Byron Donalds is accused of doing just that after formally opposing that kind of voting.
Representative Byron Donalds somehow voted.
Thank you, Madness. I appreciate that.
Representative James McGovern pointing out that Byron Donalds missed a vote in Washington while he was on the other side of the country.
Last week, Congressman Byron Donalds was at HBO studios in California, not on the House floor. But somehow, news reports say he also voted here on the
Mergle Schmergle.
At the same
I love your name.
He voted by
Good evening, my friend.
Dems put it in place during COVID. Republicans removed it.
When Johnson became Speaker, he ended remote voting because he said it was, quote, unconstitutional.
Gulf Coast News found this tweet by Donalds in 2020.
Okay, here's the thing. If they come for the redheads, I'm kind of behind them. Redheads have no soul. If they come for the gingers, I might join them on that one. If first they came for the redheads, and I was like, that's probably a good idea.
23 saying, quote, the House will vote to end proxy voting once and for all, saying its members should work in person in the people's house.
So let's just call this what it is. It's voter fraud.
Voters like Steve.
I love Puzzle Bitch.
Now they're
Oregon Gal, good evening.
All the government workers back to the office to be at work in person, that Congress would see fit to avail themselves of working from their home effectively.
And Republican Greg Boyd supports Donalds.
Anyone could cast their vote remotely if they had an excused absence.
Well, it sounds like Byron Donaldson should have been present for the vote.
Saying Republicans may want to reconsider proxy voting.
Maybe they need to review it and determine that
Lord.
They can vote absentee anyhow electronically.
Apparently I do too if you look at my exes.
And they're doing this for me, and I'm paying their salary. So I would like them to show up for work. I would like them to work together.
Congressman Donalds did not respond to our request for a comment. In Fort Myers, Dave Elias, Gulf Coast News.
Donalds committing fraud. The congressman from, is it Florida? Is that where he's from? I don't even know. For New York. I'm sorry, that's a long way away from Florida. Flash thought it too. Thort Daddy, good evening. Welcome in. Blue Dorkfish, thank you for being a freaking follower. Good evening, friends. Welcome in. I'm Justin Freakin. We find out what that news be doing. Kash Patel has been accused of perjury. He is the FBI director nominee. I believe he is on his way to confirmation early this week.
Let's begin on Capitol Hill, where the Senate Judiciary Committee is holding a meeting on the nomination of Kash Patel to be the next director of the FBI. But his nomination has hit some speed bumps, including allegations that Patel may have committed perjury during his confirmation process and overstepped his...
Well.
So I want to bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns to talk a little bit more about this. So Caitlin, Democratic Senator Dick Durbin is accusing Patel of conducting a wave of firings at the FBI without having been confirmed yet. But of course, we led with the fact that he may have perjured himself on the stand. Break that down for me.
Hey, Vlad, good to see you. Yeah, and as you saw, he is, they're having that vote right now in committee to move him forward, which is likely to actually happen. But this is all
that did happen, but he has not been confirmed by the whole Senate.
Durbin, who is a senior member on that committee, put forward a couple of days ago, which is alleging that Kash Patel had essentially directed firings at the FBI already before obviously taking this position. This is referring to some reporting that he says that he has that shows that acting director Bove was issuing these directives or talking about these directives from Stephen Miller, a chief White House person as well. So this is a lot of complications here, but Durbin is alleging that Patel may have perjured himself by saying that he has not done any of this. But again, this is the bigger part of this is, and I should say the FBI hasn't commented, DOJ hasn't commented, and the top Republican on the committee, Chuck Grassley, has said that this is all an attempt by Democrats to slow this process.
Fuck Chuck Grassley.
It's supposed to be confirmed out of
which apparently Senator Kennedy wants to.
Democrats stalled that process, pushed it forward a week. So Democrats
Quesadilla, did I tell you good evening?
Disposal to try and stop these nominations outright, and this is one way for them to do that.
He always looks shocked.
Impact on whether he gets through? No, not really. We don't know of any Republican yet who has said that they are going to vote against him. He's likely to get voted out of this committee momentarily, and he will likely get voted out of the full Senate as soon as they file for that vote.
All right, we'll be watching for that, Caitlin. What else are we expecting on the Hill this morning?
Perjured himself. Meanwhile, the education secretary nominee is the former chairwoman of WWE. I can't believe this is happening. This is Linda McMahon at the Senate hearing last week.
Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And before I start my questions,
being questioned by Senator Tammy Baldwin.
Put some studies in the record. Recent research studies of private school vouchers in Louisiana, Indiana, Ohio, and Washington, D.C. showed that students who used these vouchers performed worse academically than their public school peers. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record those 4 studies that show private school vouchers have a negative impact on student achievement.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mrs. McMahon, I appreciated the opportunity to meet with you last month, and I believe
cats are going
all
wild.
The president's nominees a fair shake. That's what the people of Wisconsin expect.
Why is Triple H so red?
Hearing more about your approach.
Why is Triple H even there?
Education, if confirmed. Mrs. McMahon, since 1972, Title IX has been a critical tool in ensuring that all students are protected from sex-based discrimination in federally funded education programs. We briefly discussed Title IX in our meeting, but I'd like to ask you a series of yes or no questions to get into a little bit more detail here. So yes or no, do you believe that Title IX should be enforced to protect students from sexual harassment and sexual assault?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe that sexual
is very red.
Severe should be prohibited under Title IX?
I think sexual harassment should be prohibited in any case.
Thank you. Do you believe that sexual harassment that is pervasive should be prohibited by Title IX?
Yes.
Do you believe that harassment that is either severe or pervasive should be prohibited under Title IX?
How do you fail that many times? She's ran for Senate twice and lost. And still she fails upwards. She gets to serve in an administration.
I don't believe there should be any acceptance of sexual harassment, Senator.
Great. Because I'm glad you actually agree with President Trump's efforts during
Mr. Elwood, good evening.
To narrow what qualifies as sexual harassment under Title IX. His guidance said that sexual harassment.
I feel like the power dynamic was different between Vince and Linda.
And I hope that you will take your position and press for that to be the law. But right now, the Title IX is limited to sexual harassment that is severe.
We need new blood in the Democratic Party. Tammy Baldwin needs to go.
Pervasive. Yes or no, if an assault occurs between two students, but it happens off campus, do you think the school should have the ability to investigate that matter?
I think the school should investigate that matter, and I believe under the regulations today, and I could be corrected on that they are obligated to investigate.
Okay, and do you believe that
what's her accent?
Then, after investigation, should have the ability to take actions regarding an incident that occurs off campus?
Yes, I think the school should be required to take those actions and to investigate and to notify the parties that are involved, and that so that both sides of the equation can have due process.
I appreciate your answer. It is not entirely clear at this matter, at this time, that the incidents would not only be investigated but adjudicated as to the school's adjudication rules. And the problem with that, as I'm sure you're well aware, is that you would have the potential of a victim of sexual assault facing the potential of attending class with their perpetrator. You know, despite how much this administration likes to talk about protecting women and girls, the actions have not matched the
Her and Vince are originally from North Carolina.
Instead of actually protecting women and girls, this administration is not making school.
But she lived in fucking Connecticut for like 50 years.
For anyone, while using this topic as a way to fearmonger and demonize others. Mrs. McMahon, you have been named in a lawsuit which alleges that you and your husband allowed for systemic and pervasive abuse of underage children to persist in your business.
Spill that tea, Tammy.
It is an ongoing lawsuit, and it alleges that you rehired a known sexual predator, and you felt it was sufficient to simply direct him to steer clear of children. If confirmed, you will be responsible with overseeing the Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, charged with ensuring equal access to education through vigorous enforcement of civil rights laws. I am so concerned about whether sexual assault survivors on campus can trust you to support them.
Thank you, Senator. They certainly can trust me to support them. I have a granddaughter that is now in college. I have two grandsons who are in college. And I have a deep commitment of understanding of how I would feel if any of them were involved in sexual harassment or accused of sexual harassment. You have my absolute commitment that I will uphold and protect those investigations to ensure that those students are treated fairly on both sides.
Mrs. McMahon, we met shortly after a shooting at...
You're a minute over.
Oh, I will submit this question for the record.
She's a minute over. I guess they were talking about school shootings. It got physical at the USAID. Oh my God, socks, leave me alone. This was the hearing last week. Protesters were thrown out.
To this shot of the Capitol building here in D.C. as the House Committee on Foreign Affairs is meeting right now in a hearing that's entitled USAID Betrayal. USAID is the United States Agency for International Development, created back in the 60s by President John F. Kennedy, and its role is to provide billions of dollars in humanitarian assistance overseas. President Trump and Elon Musk have said that the agency's work is out of line with Trump's agenda, and the two want to shut it down as an independent agency and might put it under the U.S. State Department. President Trump said the agency is, quote, run by a bunch of radical lunatics, while Musk called USAID a, quote, criminal organization. Today's hearing comes just a couple days after the White House fired the agency's Inspector General, Paul Martin. The day before his firing, Martin's office had issued a flash report warning that the Trump administration's freeze on all foreign assistance and moves to cut the agency's staff had left oversight on humanitarian aid, quote, largely non-operational. USAID states the changes will prevent the agency from ensuring that funding stays out of the hands of violent extremist groups. Now, just moments ago, we actually saw this hearing start, and at that time, it appeared that protesters stood up and interrupted all of this. I do want to play that portion for you right here on Live Now from Fox.
This committee recognizes the importance of the issues before us and is grateful to have you here to speak with us today. Your full statements will be made a part of the record, and I'll ask each of you to keep your comments, spoken remarks to less than 5 minutes in order to allow time for member questions. Hopefully you give us something that more than what we could just read in your opening statements, and I would also ask unanimous consent that the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. McCormick, be allowed to sit on the dais and participate in today's hearing. Without objection, so ordered. I now recognize Mr. Primorak for your opening statement.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to testify before this committee. My name is Max Primorak. I am a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I previously served at the U.S. Agency for International...
PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now!
Damn, that's how it's done. Corwin, good evening.
PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! 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 PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now!
I guess these guys don't watch the news. They didn't realize that PEPFAR was one of the many programs that did prove to be life-saving, so the funding was restored. Somebody better give them a link to, I don't know, maybe Fox News or something like that. You may resume your opening statement.
Damn.
Mr. Chairman, I previously served at USA.
All right, there you have it. The protest.
Oh, we did already restore the funding to that one. Ho ho. Give them a link to Fox News? Is that what they said? There's no way Fox News covered that. I do not believe it. Trump administration. Globus, did I tell you good evening? Did somebody shout out Globus over here? What a dick indeed. Globus, not a dick. Trump administration firings hit key office handling bird flu response. Weebit. Good evening, my friend. Welcome in. The layoffs in USDA's National Animal Health Laboratory Network Program office comes as egg prices reach record high amid worsening outbreak. I got myself some eggs the other day. I hadn't had eggs in a little while. I was willing to splurge on some eggs. Cracked one open, and it was I think it was towards the back of the fridge. It was kind of frozen, but it looked weird, so I was like, "Ooh, bird flu," and threw it out. Laboratories in a national network of 58 facilities responding to the spread of bird flu were notified on Friday that 25% of the staff in a central program office coordinating their work were fired in the Trump administration's mass layoffs of federal employees. USDA's National Animal Health Laboratory Network Program office has a staff of only 14 people, but it plays a major role in responding to animal disease outbreaks. It's responsible for data management, ensuring that labs across the country are conducting the same tests and following similar protocols to accurately and effectively track animal diseases. The labs that make up the American Association of Veterinarian Laboratory Diagnosticians were informed that testing and other responses to the H5N1 outbreak would be slower after the layoff, according to Keith Polson, director of the Wisconsin Veterinarian Diagnostic Laboratory. They're the front line of surveillance for the entire outbreak, Polson said. They're already underwater and they are constantly short-staffed. So if you take all the probationary staff out, you'll take out the capacity to do the work. USDA did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The department's work responding to diseases like African swine fever and foot and mouth disease could also be affected. That sounds horrendous. Avian influenza has killed more than 100 million birds since the start of the current outbreak in 2022, including 22 million in the last 30 days, according to the USDA's latest data. Oof. Reuters is going to explain to us why some federal workers decided to take a buyout. I even said it might not be a bad idea to take a buyout. Though unions have said to stand the line, legal experts have said to hold the line, stand the line.
I honestly expected myself to retire with
hold the line.
Workforce.
Until recently, 27-year-old Jordan Solis was employed with the Internal Revenue Service. When he heard the program he worked for would be eliminated, he decided to bow out. He's one of the roughly 75,000 federal workers who have accepted President Donald Trump's deferred buyout program, according to the U.S. Office of Personnel Management.
I was even in working with the Secret Service just like 2 years ago, and, looking towards other prospective positions for my future here, and just to have that essentially that door be closed is pretty crazy.
The Trump administration is pursuing various strategies to cut the civilian workforce of 2.3 million, including wide-ranging firings. It had promised to pay workers who voluntarily left their jobs through September 30th. A judge allowed the plan to proceed earlier.
If he's going to do these mass firings, I wish he'd at least, drag them in. Bring them before the desk and let them do a little song and dance for a couple minutes and make it into a reality show. I'd totally watch that.
This week. Many bristled at Trump's description of the civil service as bloated and ineffective, but some were ready to retire anyway. Others were motivated by looming federal workforce cuts or return to office orders.
We're really trying to figure out, are we going to have to sell our house?
Konstantin Kyriakou, who works for the Department of State, had planned to take the buyout after his family moved away from D.C. His wife lost her job in the cuts at the U.S. Agency for International Development.
And I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's about a 3.5, 4-hour drive from my home office. We have 3 young girls. My wife's, once again, unemployed. So for us to just uproot and move back to the Northern Virginia or D.C. area isn't really in the cards for us. It's obviously a higher cost of living up that area.
Kyriakou had been following the news, weighing in on the buyout, and was waiting to hear when the new deadline to accept the offer would be. Then late Wednesday, he received an email saying the deadline had already passed. He's holding out hope he will still get a chance to participate.
Corwin, what's your issue? How do you know that government employees don't do anything for 90% of the whatever the fuck you said? You need to remove 90% of them. Most government employees do nothing. How do you know? It's a weird thing to say. Because here's the thing. Okay, Trump has been going through here. He's been firing all these people. What if I told you he's having to rehire some people because he fired some people that were actually very needed. The leopards are feasting right now. Exactly, Weebit. Trump administration wants to unfire nuclear safety workers, but can't figure out how to reach them. This. National Nuclear Security Administration officials on Friday attempted to notify some employees who had been let go the day before that they are now due to be reinstated, but they struggled to find them because they didn't have their new contact information. In an email sent to employees at NNSA and obtained by NBC News, officials wrote, "The termination letters for some NNSA probationary employees are being rescinded, but we do not have a good way to get in touch with those personnel." The individuals the letter refers to had been fired on Thursday and lost access to their federal government email accounts, which is within the Department of Energy and oversees the nation's nuclear stockpile. They cannot reach these employees directly and is now asking recipients of the email, please work with your supervisors to send this information once you get it to the people's personal contact emails. The Department of Energy did not immediately respond to an NBC News request for comment. President Donald Trump's administration has acted with unprecedented speed and, in some cases, questionable legality in seeking to cut large portions of the federal government, laying off staff and ending contracts, but that speed has resulted in complications, including firing people agencies actually want to keep. People don't understand, like, the government is a jobs program in a lot of ways. The government handing out money is a jobs program. Just like I said with U.S. aid. Fucking, it's like $2 billion to farmers to buy their goods that the farmers aren't going to be able to buy, or the farmers aren't going to be able to sell, that they're not going to be able to get that subsidy anymore, which is then going to impact truckers, which then just trickles down. Representative Burleson had a video he wanted to play about the Democrats. This is the House Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency, the Doge Committee. He said he brought the receipts on Democrats.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to speak frankly at first to the American people. We're nearing $37 trillion in national debt. What does that mean? That means that each and every U.S. taxpayer owes over $323,000. Okay? What does that mean? That means...
Not really. That's not what that means at all, actually.
Policy Innovation Center says we have 18 trillion left. That's it. 18 trillion left to take out. And we're spending $2 trillion in debt every year. Folks, we're at the precipice of a debt, like a debt cycle. We are literally at a point in which the dollar will be worth nothing. What does that mean? And I mean, we know Social Security goes bankrupt in 8 years, right?
No,
Medicare
it doesn't.
Goes bankrupt in 10 years. And then 15 years from now, the dollar is completely devalued and worth nothing. So what does that mean? That means
Corwin, you should look it up. NBC is owned by Comcast, which is a conservative company.
Is nothing. It's worthless. So what are we doing? We're trying to save this country. We're trying to save your pensions. We're trying to save your bank accounts. We're trying to save this country for the next generation. And it would be nice if we had help. But instead, we have people that are fighting us on this. And, you know, I think that I would hate to be in the Democratic Party right now because you're in a really bad bind. You're having to defend all of this crazy spending, all of this crazy waste. So how do you do it? You do ad hominem attacks.
What crazy spending?
Oh, Elon Musk, right? He's rich. He must be evil, right? That's the attacks. Really? You can't do any better than that, right? Let's talk on the policy. Help us. We're trying to save this country. This is and Elon Musk, who's making no money doing this, is trying to save this country. Why? Because he has invested in the United States of America more than anybody, right? So I think that we should embrace it. In fact,
no, he's not.
Company, governor of any state would ever turn down Elon Musk and his team of Doge from coming in and providing free services to right the course and financially in any state or organization. It's ridiculous that we would demonize.
They're not free, and they haven't found any
this country so
fraud and abuse.
Mr. Whitman, the formation of agencies via the executive action is not new, right? The formation of Doge is not new. Can you know, are you familiar with any other previous presidencies where they've formed organizations like Doge via executive action?
Yeah, so actually the agency that Doge
Josh Hawley looking motherfucker
was created in a previous administration, so it is something that happens routinely.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, there's been.
Is this that dude on TikTok?
Environmental Protection Agency was created. The U.S. Digital Service, which is now Doge, was created all by executive order, right?
And actually, one other I'd add is USAID was originally created through an executive order by President Kennedy, and then later formalized.
And then, Madam Chair, I have a video I would like to end with that just let's review if we could cue that to remind, and I want to remind my Democratic friends at a point in which you once had the majority of the American people on your side. This is what your party believed in.
This report tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
I've read it, and where it says the president should, the president will.
Among the 800 recommendations, eliminating 12% of the federal workforce, merging some government agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, closing hundreds of government offices outside Washington.
From the day I took office, one of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small, in a systematic way. It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now. A lot of the action is in Congress and legislative, but in the meantime, we don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste. And we're going to keep on finding every possible way that we can do that, even if Congress is not acting. There you go.
I think it speaks for itself. My time has expired.
I think it speaks for itself that he endorsed Democratic policies. Clearly a fan of Clinton and Obama. Warlord, good evening. This is a clip of a Democratic strategist saying that Trump is winning because he sounds like a Democrat from the 1990s.
My question is, Donald Trump is a very scary guy. What makes him so popular?
Chuck, you want to take that one?
This is my favorite question. We've talked about it on this program before. I joined the Democratic Party in 1989 because I wanted to fight NAFTA. I wanted to drain the swamps. I wanted to make
Bernie's
sure
campaign advisor,
foreign wars or
Chuck Rocha.
That one, Brian. And that sounds like Donald Trump today. That's why we lose to him. We've let him steal our verbiage. We have quit talking about working America's, keeping America safe, doing the things that we did when I joined this party. And that's the reason he is scary. But he's not scary to enough people to lose elections because he sounds like the Democrats and why I joined this party.
My question is, Donald Trump.
I didn't know CNN was taking phone calls like there's some kind of C-SPAN kind of shit over here. Larry King used to take phone calls. Michael Steele over on NBC went off on air about the Democrats. I'm hoping this is good. Should we light one up for this?
What would you have us do?
I would actually, you know what? I'd just like you to show that you give a damn.
that you got a little emotion about the fact that people are losing their jobs indiscriminately. That this individual sitting down the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has given absolute power to one man who brings his son into the Oval Office, whose son says to him, "You're not the president. You shouldn't."
That was hilarious.
Now, where did he get that from? He got it from his daddy, because that's what his daddy thinks is the man who brought him into the Oval Office. So I just like to see somebody wake the hell up and get excited about the fact that your country is under assault. They're not at the gate anymore. They're in your bedrooms. They're in your living rooms. They're in your businesses. They got your data, dumbass. They got all your stuff. Elon Musk has his tentacles in everything you're doing, not just off of
dumbass.
But now he's in the Treasury Department. He's in the Labor Department. He's in the Department of Homeland Security. And nobody seems to give a damn. So that's all I want, somebody to show that they care enough to get off their fat ass and say something about it.
But let's not.
You got a lot more power than I do, you son of a bitch. You're on TV. Why don't you fucking say something about it? I just did, you know. We can't count on fucking Democrats to save us. That's not it. Like, everybody's like, oh, the Democrats aren't doing anything. Like, you have to empower a party to do something. I think the best that we can hope for at this moment is that Trump comes in, strips everything out of the government, and that there's a backlash because there's going to be an economic crash. Holy fuck. The amount of people that are going to lose jobs because of his dumbass. By the time the next 4 years roll around, he's going to be really unpopular. And if there's still elections, he will be thrown out if he tries to run for a third term. I don't know what's going to happen. This is so wild. And the best that we can hope for is that we organize and that we can build a social democracy in the wake of, you know, Trump burning it down, and that we can take advantage of the situation. We've got the general strike coming up in 2028. So light one up, tip one back. I've been doing this show for 5 fucking years and only 2 people have been president. It's kind of annoying. A pizza joint owner is getting backlash for a pizza box that he has. Receiving threats, the owner of Valentina's Pizzeria.
The boxes were the artwork of the president and his cabinet, causing an uproar in Madison. The owner of Valentina's Pizza drummed up the idea for the boxes during the election. News 19's Archie Smoden spoke to the owner, who says his staff has received threats.
Valentina's famous pizzeria, ranked number 31 out of the top.
This is in Alabama.
List, is delivering more than pizza these days, and you may have never seen anything quite like it. Pizza boxes with cartoon graphics featuring President Donald Trump and his cabinet on the outside of the box. And one flip on the inside depicts Trump in the likeness of Jesus.
Oh, my God.
We're not happy.
If people don't like the boxes, then they're going to have to go somewhere else to get the pizza. Jesus is inside the box saying, God bless our country, God bless our president, whether it's Biden, Harris, Trump, Obama, whoever it is.
Valentina's owner, Joe Carlucci, created the box during the 2024 presidential election, but his political support has caused quite a stir. The social media response for Carlucci has been mostly negative and divisive. So much so that Yelp, the review website, dropped Valentina's from its engagement platform.
And then there's the extremists that want to come and attack me or threaten to burn my place down or attack a young, innocent girl that I made her say we joked around.
What? What?
Carlucci says he can deal with the backlash from his political stance, but what really sent...
What? The girl thing, what? Innocent
or attack. And then there's the extremists that want to come and attack me or threaten to burn my place down or attack a young innocent girl that I made her say we joked around. Really?
Colucci says he can deal with the backlash from his political stance, but what really sent him over the edge was a post directed towards his 17-year-old employee. Carlucci and his employee made a joke about the election being stolen that did not go over well.
Like I said, hey, yeah, attack me all day. Don't attack a 17-year-old girl. I didn't put her up to it.
Whether it's slogans like "Make pizza, not war," or "Eat pizza, not pets," Carlucci says that his messages will remain until the pizza box inventory runs out.
But I don't care what people think of me. I'm not here to win a Nobel Prize.
In Madison, Archie Snowden, News 19.
Curly.
Is the pizza any good? Elon might have a new kid. Speaking of the kid that was in the Oval Office with him. A right-wing influencer claims she is the mother of billionaire Elon Musk's 13th child, according to a post that she wrote on X. Ashley St. Clair, a 26-year-old MAGA writer, said on Friday night that she and Musk share a 5-month-old child. 5 months ago, I welcomed a new baby into the world. Elon Musk is the father. I've not previously disclosed this to protect our child's privacy and safety, but in recent days it has become clear that tabloid media intends to do so regardless of the harm it will cause. St. Clair did not detail which media organization was seeking information about her and her child. News organizations typically will request comment from subjects prior to a story's publication, which may explain how St. Clair learned that a story about her alleged child with the world's wealthiest man was in the works. I intend to allow our child to grow in a normal and safe environment. For that reason, I ask that the media honor our child's privacy and refrain from invasive reporting. This is Ashley St. Clair. Sounds like a porn star name. Not to judge. St. Clair has not provided evidence that the child she says she shares with Musk even exists. The Independent has requested comment from Musk. Brian Glicklich, St. Clair's representative, shared a statement on Saturday night in a post on X that claimed his client and Musk had been privately working towards the creation of an agreement about raising their child for some time. It is disappointing that a tabloid reporter who repeatedly ambushed Ashley and her family made it impossible to complete that process confidentially, Glicklich said. We are waiting for Elon to publicly acknowledge his parental role with Ashley to end unwarranted speculation, and Ashley trusts that Elon intends to finish their agreement quickly in the best interest of the well-being and security of the child they share. In an interview with the New York Post published on Saturday, St. Clair claimed that Musk slid into her DMs on X in May of 2023. So there's no video for this, is there? She got a photo shoot out of it. I'm kind of into it. He does have a fetish for, coming in young women. So I like the idea. I don't doubt that he fathered a child with her. Singer Sheryl Crow decided to very publicly get rid of her Tesla, donating the money from getting rid of it to NPR.
So say goodbye.
And we get copyright on this. Sheryl Crow's gotten rid of her Tesla in protest of the car company's owner, Elon Musk. The 63-year-old Nashville-based musician referred to the controversial CEO and Trump advisor as President Musk. She said that she donated the money to National Public Radio, which she described as being under threat. There comes a time when you have to decide who you are willing to align with. So long, Tesla. Money donated to NPR. Last week it was reported that Tesla sales are plunging worldwide amid Musk's new role in the Trump White House. Tesla sales in France fell 63% last month over the previous January, sank 59.5% in Germany. What's going on in the chat? Corwin, are you being a little instigator? We're transitioning into the crime section of the show. School in Ohio calling for an investigation into the neo-Nazis that demonstrated last week.
Laughlin schools are officially demanding answers after new video shows neo-Nazi demonstrations on school grounds.
Right, Jordan Valines is joining us to explain why they're frustrated with police.
A second for a full investigation. Talk about the Laughlin local school board now calling for that investigation into the Evendale and Laughlin police departments. All of this comes after the district superintendent released this new security footage. It was taken on their property last Friday. The video shows a police officer. I know it's rather grainy, but it does show a police officer entering that alleyway right here, followed then by the U-Haul involved in that neo-Nazi demonstration that had dispersed just before this footage was recorded. The concern that school officials pretty much expressed at last night's board meeting is that the neo-Nazis were allegedly led to this spot by police without
escorted by police.
Laughlin Local School District Superintendent Bob Longworth says at no
the school
point were they told or warned that the neo-Nazis were going to be right next to the grade school's property. In a statement released on Tuesday, Evendale police said that after the U-Haul then left the initial demonstration, officers located it in Laughlin and told its occupants not to return. But there's no mention of the school. And Longworth says it simply contradicts their footage. Take a listen.
I can surely appreciate the need for de-escalation in certain times, but communication has to be the top priority when people's lives are in danger.
Education is now calling on the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office to investigate both the Evendale and the Laughlin police departments for
That's a good question, Minty.
the entire situation. However,
how many of them can't even legally be near a school?
Hamilton County Sheriff's Department about an investigation into this. For now, reporting here in studio, Jordan Valines, Fox 19 Now.
Oh, hold on. There's more of this report. My apologies.
State Representative Cecil Thomas is also asking for answers about the neo-Nazi demonstration after the Laughlin School District released a statement saying armed individuals.
Damn right, Red Wine. I was getting ready to say the same thing.
Thomas called on Attorney General Dave Yost to look into
Buy one up, tip one back.
saying, quote, I'm calling on the Attorney General to immediately launch a full investigation into the police officers' actions, and I won't stop until those responsible are held accountable. Our children deserve to feel safe, our communities deserve to feel protected, and this can never happen again. Now, on Tuesday, the Evendale police chief said that he disagrees with the demonstration and does not want to see hateful rhetoric in his community. Now, he said that his department is still looking into the incident and will consult with prosecutors if any charges need to be filed.
If you want to give a speech, Corwin, you absolutely can. 917-830-4359. I almost forgot my own phone number. That's wild. Now, most of the people that say others don't know how the economy works don't know how the economy works. Just throwing it out there. It's usually just an appeal. I am going to hit the content warning on this one. You want to do a chat? We absolutely can. Oh, damn, Flo. You can get in the Discord. You can hop on the phone. There be the link. There's a debate freaking chat. We'll see what we get here. I have no idea what you guys were talking about in the chat. I was reading the news. Am I high enough for this shit? I'm cold. It's very cold. My nose is cold. My hand is cold. Trying to like wrap it in my blanket down here. It didn't take you to the server? Cause it used to work, but like it may not work anymore. Well, here, like I'll send you a link. Oh, that didn't do it. Because it does, like, it went dead at some point in time. Use copy button. It said copy button. Why would it say copy button over here? Yeah, it says hidden use copy button, but then it doesn't copy the link. God damn it, Discord. Are you sure the link doesn't work? Because critically thinking, yeah, that takes you to my Discord. That's the right link. And then just hop into the voice chat with me. The one Flash sent. How did Flash pull a different link? We both did the Bang Discord. That's weird. I don't want to go on to the next story because it's interesting. I'm not the smartest either, Corwin. We're both dumb fucks. If you're not the smartest, why would you have opinions on things like politics? If you're not the smartest, why would you think that you know best about the size of the federal government? That one worked, didn't it? Yeah, that one took me to my Discord. The Discord links work. I have a really good smelling candle right here in front of me. It's making me want cookies really bad. I really want cookies. The same reason you don't want a hard sugar. What? Mine looks like a trick. I try to trick people. I am the troll. So yeah, either of their links work, Corwin. Come on, come to the Discord. Get in here and have a chat with me. You got like Girl Scout cookies? Is that what you're telling me, Avalon? Because I might. I fucking might. Oh, you're gonna make me cookies. That's even better, honestly. I mean, I can make my own cookies. Oh yeah, but if you want to bake me something. It is fucking cold. I'm cold right now. All right, Corwin, I want to have a discussion with you, but like, you're taking too long. This next story is wild. The link they sent was the right link. It took you to my server. This one contains graphic content. You get double the warning. You get my content warning, fuckers. They've got a warning. This man died at the deadliest workplace in the U.S. We've apparently got video.
2023. James Streetman, a supervisor at Phoenix Lumber Company in Phoenix City, Alabama, died while on the job. The incident happened here, near the edge of Alabama, at Phoenix Lumber Company's sawmill by the wood chipper. The spinning metal fan crushes wood scraps into smaller chips, which are then moved alongside the building on a line known as an auger. The auger houses a giant spinning metal screw with sharp blades that moves the wood chips and loads them onto trucks. Police have ruled that the incident involving Streetman was an accident caused by safety hazards and violations that the company may have been ignoring. This isn't the first time Phoenix Lumber Company has had a death occur because of an accident.
I bet.
At approximately 2:08 p.m., a worker notices the line leading to the wood chipper has stopped. It appeared to be jammed, so the worker began taking out pieces of wood to restart the line. Minutes later, more workers join him to remove pieces. Streetman is among them. David Weber, the worker in the red shirt, climbs to the top of the chipper and hits the big pipe with a hammer to loosen the trapped larger pieces. Coworkers said that Streetman suspected more debris was clogged in a pipe higher up on the mill. He walks inside the factory and over a catwalk to reach a small balcony upstairs overlooking the auger lines. At 3:30 p.m., the switches are turned on and the augers begin to spin. Moments later, the machine stops again. As a worker checks the bottom line, a piece of unidentified debris rolls. It is later confirmed to be a human leg.
Oh, wow!
It remains unclear how the machine turned back on while Streetman was still on the balcony near the auger lines. But safety regulators say power to the machine should have been locked out during the repair work. It is a common industrial safety protocol. Inside, Weber is seen at the water fountain. He later tells police that after getting water, he checked on Streetman on the top balcony, soon realizing he wasn't there. At around the same time, employee Gene Benefield is seen running to shut off all the lines in the factory. He then makes a panicked call to the police. Another worker, Matthew Miller, also calls 911.
Need you at Phoenix Lumber Company with an ambulance immediately.
Phoenix Lumber Company, what's going on?
Sawmill. Got a man hung in the auger.
Hung?
Yes, he's in the auger. And there's somebody's leg. I just found somebody's leg over here. I don't know where the rest of him is.
Oh, wow.
3:43 p.m. First responders arrive on the scene. Officer Karis Alexander is told by police that they found Streetman.
He's in the machine over there in pieces.
Hold on, what? What do you mean?
I mean in pieces.
In pieces?
Officers examine the auger that Streetman fell into. They are told by workers that he may have fallen off a portion of the platform that is only held up by a loose wooden panel.
This is sketchy as
Officers talk with workers and later bring several to the station to explain the fatal accident.
I went up there and I grabbed my drink. Went over there to check on Jimbo and he was not Jimbo anymore, I guess.
A few officers
I should not laugh at
discussing
that.
among themselves how this isn't the first incident at Phoenix Lumber Co.
There's always somebody dying.
Jimbo was gumbo. Fucking wow. Mr. Spronk, good evening. Corwin, my friend, are you there?
I fucking did it.
You fucking did it. I love it. What's up? You were having a intense battle with some people in my chat.
Yeah. So, what the battle
Corwin's a
boiled
cool
down to
name.
is-
Where did you come up with Corwin?
I absolutely just made man, I'm getting a feedback, but I absolutely just made that up. Corwin Showway is a made up name.
Oh, do you have my stream? Did you turn my stream, the volume on my stream off?
That's what it is. Yeah, I gotta turn your screen off. I'm so bad at this. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So yeah, Corwin Showway is a made up fake ass name. I don't even know where I got it from. I didn't understand.
Sounds like you play
when
polo.
They were like, you should make a name, and I didn't understand the task. I didn't actually know what I was supposed to do, so I just like picked a random name.
But Corwin is such a cool name.
I appreciate that, I guess, but no, fake ass name.
I didn't figure it was your real name. JustinFREAKIN is not my real name either.
Right, of course. There you go. Yeah, precisely. A lot of people think that I'm British. They hear Corwin Showway and they're like, "You must be from the UK," and I'm like, "Nope, it's a fake ass name. I'm not. I'm just as fake from the UK as I is. My name is actually fake also." So
are you American? What region are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Iowa. We grow corn.
Iowa.
Corn as far as the eye can see.
I've only driven through Iowa. I've never actually spent any time in Iowa.
You haven't missed anything.
I didn't think so.
No, it's not like, oh, we make really great chicken wings or something like. Nope, there's nothing going on here. It's just we grow lots of corn. Moving through is the best option, unless you want corn.
Well, there is something in Iowa that I do want. You have a senator by the name of Joni Ernst.
Are they good?
Well, I want to be good for her. I want her to be my GOP mommy.
Oh boy. No, see, even that kind of stuff, like I haven't voted in the last couple of elections. That I have opinions about the larger economy and what all's going on, but politically speaking, I just, in fact, in the last month, I got a thing in the mail that was like, we're removing you from the registry because you haven't voted in so long. And I was like, well, what are you going to do? Whatever.
Well, what are your opinions on the economy?
So that's what we were talking about in chat here, where I was trying to describe to them that the cost of oil and what have you, and a bunch of other stuff, it directly relates to how many employees in the government we should have. That as a Republican, I think we should have a reasonably small government. And so if you're going to have policies...
Okay. Hold on, let's start from there, because I don't understand the concept, like, why does the government need to be small?
It doesn't need to be small, but you need to justify why it should be larger. And at least as far as I've ever seen in history, there's never been a good justification for a larger government. It always just leads to more of the same with no benefit.
The administration of Social Security is not an administration of government?
So, money flowing through the government, money coming into the government and flowing through to the people, I'm okay with that. That's like Social Security.
Yeah, okay.
Money flowing into the government and then becoming 27 different people who are all busy studying a single mushroom or something like that. Just human waste. That's what I mean about a bloated government.
Well,
It's not.
One of the things that I like to do here on this show is, like, Rand Paul does his, like, waste, fraud, and abuse report, and he'll come in here and he'll talk about, like, you know, the studies of the sexuality of shrimp and blah, 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 blah. And every time you actually look those things up, they turn out to be, like, minuscule amounts of money, and they do indeed turn out to be useful. Like, there was a reason why they were doing the study. Like, the studies have had, you know, significant breakthroughs. Like, Ozempic was a offshoot of some government-funded study. And they were doing something crazy, like with stingrays or some shit.
And so sometimes those they do yield returns, of course, because these are forefronts of the scientific field.
Yeah, like who's gonna do these things? Like if the market isn't willing to do it because we know they focus on medicines like, you know, dick pills that make money, as opposed to, you know, doing this, you know, asinine research, you know, fucking esoteric research into things that, you know, might yield results or might not. Who's going to do it if the government doesn't pay for it?
Let me put it this way to you then. After 80 years of an institution funding itself a particular way, it nowadays doesn't matter very often whether or not there's any results being yielded. These people have learned how to organize themselves so that they guarantee that they're going to continue to get funding.
What
and
are you?
So you get.
Like, you have to tell me what you're talking about. Like, this is.
I'm talking about every single aspect of science. I'm talking about physics. I'm talking about biology. I'm talking about doctors. I'm talking about anything that actually is scientific.
What expertise do you have in this?
I can reference where I'm getting this information from, but, you know, I mean, me personally, I'm not a scientist. So
why would you have an opinion on, like, how many scientists there needs to be?
Because I can say with confidence that at this point, the scientific community has been designed over decades to continue to acquire funding. They're not about actually doing science. They're not about actually even perpetuating the most intelligent amongst them.
How do you know this? Like, this is a weird. That is a very lofty assertion. So you need a lot of evidence to back that up.
The best I can offer you, without, if you want me to give you YouTube links and...
You heard it from some stupid YouTuber, didn't you? You heard it from a grifter on YouTube.
No, definitely not. That's not the case. And so what it boils down to is...
What it boils down to is I don't think you know enough about the issue to have such strong opinions on it.
Let me fully explain what I'm saying. That the scientific industry is based off of funding that comes from people that will only give them that funding if they make specific results. And
the fuck are you talking about?
Now, it's been a feedback loop. It's been a feedback loop of science just generally isn't actually even doing the work that you'd expect them to in terms of doing anything for the future, because they have families that they want to feed, they have schools that they want to maintain.
My friend, this is an assertion. You're just restating your assertion and not providing any supporting evidence.
Well, so the evidence would be the science that hasn't been done. And so that's where...
whoa. That's hilarious. Okay. Hit me with it.
I can't just bring you a whole list of how, for the last 30 years, the United States has been slowly giving away scientific advancement, and that we haven't really done much compared to the 30 years that came before.
I agree with that, but that's like a problem where, like, we've kind of dumbed down our citizenry.
But very specifically, the way that
there has been a push in my life. Like, my generation had a lot of art kids, right? So there has been a push since my generation to, focus on STEM.
Yeah.
Science,
technology, engineering, math. Yeah.
But I think you need a good, well-rounded education because you need to teach people critical thinking skills.
Critical thinking is absolutely essential.
Yeah, you need English classes, and you need to stand up and give speeches. You need philosophy classes. You need a well-rounded liberal arts education so that you don't end up like a dumb fuck.
The English language doesn't actually have any underlying logic. It's just you memorize it. So the people...
When I say the English class is like analyzing literature and shit like that.
So the people predisposed to an English major are the ones that are not predisposed towards STEM.
Brother, I've fucked several English majors.
STEM is cause and effect. STEM is actually you have.
You're speaking to as a creative. I know what you're talking about.
And that stands directly in the line of something like English language, where I before E, but sometimes after Y.
No, when I'm talking about English classes, I mean like analyzing literature. That's how you fine tune critical thinking. This is why when you have the classes where you read poems and then you talk about what it means and you interpret it different ways. That's why this is important. This teaches you critical thinking skills.
Okay, and so I would consider that history. That you're describing the history.
No, it's English.
Human.
But once again, like the fact that we compartmentalize our subjects is also bad. Like it's kind of like that's kind of to teach us, to do factory work. That's why our schools are, that's why they ring the bell and everything is rigid into time periods and box you into different subjects. But like, no. Like analyzing a story, that's totally English.
I personally feel like.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a trust fund baby.
Should have fucking known it. That makes perfect sense. Well, what kind of hobby do you do? Are you creative? Are you, you DJ?
Nah, nothing really.
You don't do anything? You have the world by the balls. You could do anything in the world, and you don't capitalize on that.
What possible thing would I want to do?
Most trust fund babies, they want to paint or they want to be DJs. You didn't go to art school. Race cars.
I like Holiday. Holiday said kill a CEO for us. That's a good trust fund baby.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I mean, that's not really where I'm at. That just basically sit here and talk to people on Twitch.
That's all you do all day?
For the most part.
Really? I mean, I don't want to I don't want to criticize it because clearly I'm a Twitch streamer, but like, man, like I would drop an album, or I'd be doing a play somewhere. I'd have a TV show.
Have you heard the expression pearls before swine?
It seems like I have, but like it doesn't even make sense to me now hearing it. Can you explain it?
So essentially, there's not a lot of motivation if you don't think very much of your audience. That if your audience is swine, there's no reason to go out of your way to create a pearl.
Are you calling my audience swine?
Not at all. I'm saying I'm explaining my own life where you're like, why are you doing what you're doing?
But like I'm just saying, like you have an opportunity that like 99% of the world has never had. Like you can go buy you a plane ticket and fly to like Tokyo, right?
Yeah, could.
Nothing stopped. Like fucking bro, I wish I could fucking do that.
But
40 years on this earth, man. Like
though?
I've been confined to the Appalachian Mountains.
You would get to Tokyo and you'd drink some delicious soup, and you'd be sitting there in one of those bamboo places, and you'd just be like, yeah, I guess I'm here now. You'd still be yourself. Nothing would have changed.
You're a Debbie Downer, aren't you?
Poor.
You wouldn't want to see the sights? You wouldn't want to... You wouldn't go to the suicide forest? You wouldn't... Like, I don't get it.
I would say travel is the sort of thing that if we care about global warming should be properly mitigated.
Do you care about global warming?
Weirdly enough, I think children are the ones who should be allowed to travel. If you're like a 7-year-old, that 7-year-old should be allowed to go on a vacation, not the 50-year-old who's already seen everything on the internet and doesn't give a shit.
Who's going on vacation with the 7-year-old? This is I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Family's got to go with. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry. I got somebody showing up on my door. I have to answer it. If that's a problem, I apologize, but I'm going to need about 20, 30 seconds here, so I'll be back.
Okay, Corwin. We'll wait on you. I can totally vamp. What in the fuck is going on here?
Hey, buddy.
7-year-olds can go on vacation. I'm dying. Oh my God. Knox, good evening. Welcome in. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I want to know who was at the door. Can I talk to the person at the door? Bring them in. I want to talk to them. Did you order food? Was it DoorDash? Did you get some Taco Bell? I just don't understand. A rare left wing. I thought all the channels were left wing. What's up, right wing Jesus? Hey, Corwin, you
Sorry
back?
about that.
Oh no, you're cool. Did you get some DoorDash?
No, the dude just said that the order that I got was given to the people before me, and so he just drove all the way over here to tell me that I'm not getting my food.
Wow! Oh man, Corwin, that's horrible. Okay. So what did you order? I want to know what your DoorDash order is.
It was a Taco Bell with 2 burritos and 2 quesadillas.
I called it. I said it was Taco Bell.
Yeah, got myself 2 burritos, 2 quesadillas, and these motherfuckers just showed up and said, "You're not getting any food, and you need to call them and tell them that Michelle is the reason." Like he's all giving me a fucking explanation.
Corwin, they ate your food. They ate your quesadillas.
I'm just canceling it.
Oh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you did not get your taco. He must be a trust fund baby if he's ordering DoorDash. Goddamn.
Yeah. Getting them foods delivered.
That proves it. You gotta have money to get that food delivered all the time. Those quesadillas are like $50 goddamn after all the delivery fees. Anyway,
So anyways, I'm going through my account right now trying to see what all's going on here.
You're canceling your DoorDash? Oh. Did you go to college?
Yes. For accounting and finance.
That makes sense. Do you work in accounting and finance now, or do you?
No, but I invest my family's money.
Ooh! Can I pitch you on something?
You can try.
I can pitch you on JustinFREAKIN. I think that's the best return on investment you can make, because for just a couple of $1,000s of advertising, I think the show could really take off.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, invested my brain. I got the t-shirt store set up. Everything's ready to go. I've got all the Patreon, everything's set up. I just need an investor. Oh, and a GOP mommy.
Past orders. Yeah, I'm still getting charged motherfucking $49 for this shit. That shit's not happening.
Wait, was it actually $50? Is what I guess the place and the amount correct? The universe is telling you that you need to invest in me. I guessed your order. I guessed the exact amount. Yeah, we'll sell sponsorships. That's what I'm saying. Like, you'll have an investment into my company. Like you know how TYT has the Poly Market Studio. We can sell off my studio. I'll be I'm kind of vulgar, so it's like the Adam and Eve, penthouse, the penthouse. Yeah, he's not impressed.
No, it's just saying I should contact my delivery person. The delivery person he drove all the way here.
They ate your food. At least buy Justin some furniture. Yeah, Justin needs some new furniture. I've been through some shit.
Party. Uber will not ask for any confidential or private
Do you want me to let you go so you can mess with your order, my friend?
Next, the call to the other.
Is it too late for you to reorder Taco Bell?
Not too late to reorder, but I got to figure out if I'm gonna pay $50 here.
And you should use the Taco Bell app and not like a delivery app. It's cheaper that way. That's how us non-trust fund babies have to live.
That I should just try to get this food a different day instead of just canceling the order?
You think you can get it a different day? All right, you cancel your order. We're gonna go back to doing the news. Holler at me like another day. Did you sub to the channel? You better be subbed to the channel. You gonna hang out with us? Corwin, I guess Corwin just left me. He didn't get the order. The people came and told him that he wasn't getting his Taco Bell. That's the shame of it. Julie, good evening. Mary Sue, welcome in. Mr. Elwood, I think I told you good evening, but if I didn't, I love you. Good to see you. Don't know if anybody else snuck in on me. I guess we're doing a quesadilla night tonight. It is so fucking cold in here. Oh God, this is a horrible. I don't want to do this. Zon, good to see you, my friend. It's a very cute color of pink. I'm gonna skip this story. I feel like it's wrong of me to not do it, but also it's too heart-wrenching. I don't want to do it. Like it needs attention, but maybe another night. I don't even want to say, like it's like just saying it is horrible. Anonymously, I don't know if I told you good evening, my friend. Welcome in. You get a titty slap.
A titty slap! Come on now.
Police are searching for a 4-year-old who is missing after a deadly tarmac shooting.
We're back with an update on some breaking news we've been following this morning, reported by Local 10's Hani Yashivi minutes ago as the Broward Sheriff's Office now confirms a deadly shooting at her location in Tamarack. Deputies say a man was pronounced dead at a home in the 5700 block of Plum Bay Parkway in Tamarack. Also, minutes ago, the Broward Sheriff's Office revealing a statewide Amber Alert. You might have seen
Plum Bay Parkway sounds tasty.
Out for a 4-year-old child, Serafina Gingles, who they say was taken from that residence. They believe she was taken by Nathan Gingles in a 2016 silver BMW X3 with Texas plates.
Oh, wow.
5DV2950, last seen heading east on West Commercial Boulevard in Tamarack after 6 this morning. It is possible that Serafina's mother, Mary Catherine Gingles, 34, is also with them. Both Serafina and Mary Catherine are believed to be endangered. If located, do not approach, but call 911 right away.
We do have an update. The man has been charged. This is from a couple hours ago. The man was charged Sunday following a twist of events that led to the death investigations of 2 people in separate Broward County homes. God, what? An Amber Alert to be issued for a taken 4-year-old girl. The Broward County Sheriff's Office said it had arrested 43-year-old Nathan Gingles, charging him with violating an injunction regarding no contact with his 4-year-old daughter, Serafina Gingles, and her mother, 34-year-old Mary Catherine Gingles. After Serafina and Nathan Gingles were found alive, Mary Catherine Gingles was found shot dead in a Tamarack Oh, I said tarmac earlier. I thought it happened at an airport. At a Tamarack home. Just a block away from another man who was also found shot dead. So the kid's okay? Just after 6 a.m., BSO was called out to a reported shooting, prompting deputies and fire and rescue to respond. They're advising about 4 rounds heard. Upon arrival, deputies found a man who had died from a gunshot wound inside the home. As part of their investigation, BSO then learned that Seraphim Gingles was taken from the home and an Amber Alert was activated, carrying a 4-year-old white female, light green, white shorts, no shoes. According to the Amber Alert, Seraphim Gingles was believed to have been taken by Nathan Gingles. Shortly after 11 a.m., Nathan and Seraphim Gingles were found when deputies with BSO's Violence Intervention Proactive Enforcement Response Viper team found the BMW near a Walmart. Witness Janae Love got that Amber Alert and was there when the deputies got the little girl to safety. As we're going in, we even were looking around to see the little girl came out, and they found the little girl, thankfully. However, Mary Catherine Gingles was not with them. Later on Sunday afternoon, BSO said Mary Catherine Gingles was found shot dead inside a home just a block away from where the man was found shot dead earlier. So was the man Nathan Gingles? They have the little girl and the woman is dead? Do I understand that correctly?
Child and a woman tonight. We know that child has been found safe. The woman is dead, and the father on your screen is in custody. Good evening.
No, he's alive. He's in custody.
Began with the man found
So we don't know the identity of the other person.
That is where we begin our team coverage. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister joining us live from the street where both death investigations are happening. Anna, you just heard from BSO a short time ago.
Yes, Chelsea, that's right. Thankfully, that little girl, she is okay. That is a silver lining in the situation. But tragically, 2 people are dead. A man, like you mentioned, found dead here earlier today, and that little girl's mom also found dead.
Was he fucking the mom?
Very active scene. We have seen dozens of police officers here on the scene. I want to take a step out of the way so you get a better look. You can see that BSO Mobile Command Center has been stationed out here for hours trying to figure out what happened here on the 5800 block of North Plum Bay Parkway. Now, I want to bring you to a picture of the mother. According to BSO, the mom who was shot to death is 34-year-old Mary Gingles. They discovered she and Gingles' 4-year-old daughter.
What a name.
When they came out to investigate, they found a man who was shot to death inside of the home. That happened earlier this morning.
He looks like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
The mother and the daughter. Police believe the girl's father and estranged husband of Mary, 43-year-old Nathan Gingles, took his daughter from the home here this morning. And at the time, Mary, the girl's mother, she was also missing. Now, around 11 o'clock in the morning, they found the little girl unharmed with her father, Nathan, in North Lauderdale. Police took Nathan into custody for violating an injunction regarding contact with this little girl.
Well, he's the one that killed the...
This afternoon, police found the child's mother, Mary
Gingles,
shot to death in a home here on North Plum Bay Parkway. Now, we did some digging.
Clearly, right?
Documents out of Broward County. And we found that Mary had filed an injunction against Nathan last February, almost a year to the day, following a domestic violence incident. She also filed for a divorce. Now, we're still working to learn the identity of the man who was found deceased here this morning and his relationship to this family. Of course, as you can see behind me, this is a developing story, and as we learn more, we'll keep you updated on air and online. But for now, reporting live from Tamarack, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.
Hey.
Wild. Can you imagine what the story is that I skipped over? This one may have you guys celebrating. We have another good cop He apparently wrecked on his way to work.
That's exactly right. There are some heavy hearts here at the department here in Glenview this evening. The village and department officials mentioned that the officer Frike was on his way to work this morning when he was involved in a crash in Barrington, as you mentioned. This happened just after 4 a.m. on the 200 block of South Northwest Highway. The department says the impact of his loss was so great that many
don't want to know how your
officers,
quesadilla came out.
officers were sent home for the day, with Cook County and neighboring communities responding to help. Now, Officer Frike was recently recognized at a February 4th Board of Trustees meeting for
update us on what happens with Uber,
who helped save the life of a fellow officer. The chief saying in part in a statement that Officer Frike was more than just a colleague. Said Police Chief William Fitzpatrick, he was a part of our family and a part of this community. The village president says there will be plans to honor Officer Frike's.
Honor my ass. We like to kick authority in the balls around here.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, Holiday. This building in Massachusetts apparently collapsed, prompting an investigation. A partial building collapse in Brookline.
Those crews are working to clean up the mess left behind. You can see that small bobcat and that big orange crane working there behind me. We've been watching as that crane tore down even more of the building. Crews had concerns a wall left standing on its own could topple at any moment. One neighbor telling us she was shoveling snow when she...
That sounds like an old Chinese proverb or something. A wall left standing on its own could topple.
Then that big orange crane working there behind me. We've been watching as that crane tore down even more of the building. Crews had concerns a wall left standing on its own could topple at any moment. One neighbor telling us she was shoveling snow when she saw the bricks come crashing down onto a neighbor's car. Now take a look at this home security video. These videos capturing the moment the building comes crashing to the ground around 9:30 this morning. The fire department saying they believe the heavy snow and rain may have been a factor in the collapse.
Holy
shit. On
shit.
Vernon Street is currently being renovated, and we know all the building permits are active and valid according to the fire department. Now neighbors say the sound of the collapse woke them up this morning.
There was nobody in the building.
Then I woke up to a loud crashing noise, which was obviously the house toppling and all the bricks falling. And I just thought it was from the heavy rain, because I was waking up from heavy rain earlier in the morning.
Now, neighbors in the building next door were evacuated just in case. Thankfully, nobody out here was hurt. Now, taking you back out here live, we do know
that is amazing.
Were damaged when this building collapsed. And while fire officials believe weather may have played a role in the collapse, the official cause remains under investigation. Live in Brookline, Emily Maha, WCVB News. Now, take a look at
Emily Maha.
Security video. These videos capturing the moment the building comes crashing to the ground around 9:30 this morning. The fire department saying they believe the heavy snow and rain may have been a factor in the collapse. The building on Vernon Street is currently being renovated.
It just peeled off.
Permits are active and valid according to the fire department. Now neighbors say the sound of the collapse woke them up this morning.
Then I woke up to
9:30 this morning. The fire department saying they believe the heavy snow and rain may have been a factor in the collapse. The building on Vernon Street is currently being renovated, and we know all the building permits are active and valid according to the fire department. Now neighbors say the sound of the collapse woke them up this morning.
Then I woke up to a loud crashing noise.
Emily Maha.
In the collapse, the official cause remains under investigation. Live in Brookline, Emily Maha, WCVB News Center 5.
It was Moore.
Maha,
like Bill Moore. But she said Emily Maha.
CVB News Center 5.
No, say Emily Maha again.
Live in Brookline, Emily Maha, WCVB.
I don't know why that tickles me. I should make fun of her name. Mr. Sprunk, good evening. In Minnesota, they apparently had a lot of crashes on Valentine's Day. This is a compilation of all the vehicle crashes in the snow in Minnesota, in Minneapolis probably, on Valentine's Day. Whoop. Oh, damn, it knocked over a light post. And they put arrows on it and everything for us. Oh, god damn. Needs a little soundtrack. I'm always scared to death when I'm driving on the road. Oh, god damn. And they say people up north know how to drive in the snow. What we need is some fucking public transit, Michael. Always coming in with the valuable input. I love it. Now maybe out in Wyoming, that's the kind of place where you might need a car. This is a deadly pileup on a major highway out in Wyoming.
Drivers scrambling for safety after a fiery explosion inside a major interstate tunnel. At least 2 people were killed and several more were injured after the massive car pileup. Drivers and passengers forced to flee the flames and black smoke. What we are learning tonight. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Another explosion.
Tonight, the NTSB is investigating a deadly pileup on a major highway in Wyoming. Stunning images showing thick black smoke billowing out of Green River Tunnel on I-80 after a multi-vehicle crash shut down the highway in both directions.
The uniqueness of this one is the fact that it was in the tunnel and how the fire started in the tunnel, which prevented our response into the tunnel.
The accident occurring on Friday morning around 11:30. Multiple fires on site, making it so hot that tires started exploding. First responders racing to the scene, announcing 2 people killed in the crash with multiple people injured.
I just feel so bad for the people alive in there, man. I couldn't even try to help them.
Geologists and engineers are inspecting the tunnel's infrastructure. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Rachel. Jacqueline, thank you.
Jacqueline, thank you. I don't have to say, like, shut up, George Stephanopoulos. Is Byronic still here? You'll like this story. This would be like a plus for your bananas. A snake was found inside a batch of bananas in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire market basket employee got a bit more than he bargained for when he was unpacking some bananas.
Yeah, he spotted a snake, and it was a rare venomous snake at that. Take a look. That is a ornate cat eye snake, a mildly venomous snake native to Ecuador. The responding officer says the find was definitely a first.
We've had a few calls about pet surrenders of like ball pythons and stuff like that, but never a venomous snake. Obviously, it's not really meant to be in this cold climate, so my truck was hotter than usual that day. Mike couldn't meet me till later in the day, so I kept the truck warm for the snake.
Well, that's nice.
Yes, very nice.
The snake was safely returned to a local wildlife rescue.
Got a bit more than he bargained for when he was unpacking.
I love this dude.
He spotted a snake.
This dude could be like a fucking Bowen Yang character.
And it was a rare venomous snake at that. Take a look. That is a ornate cat eye snake, a mildly venomous snake native to Ecuador. The responding officer says the find
Ecuador
is definitely a first.
We've had a few calls about pet surrenders of.
This is not the animal video for tonight.
Like that, but never.
There's more show.
Obviously, it's
don't
not
go
really
anywhere
meant to
on
be
me
in this cold climate. So, my truck was hotter than usual that day. Mike couldn't meet me till later in the day, so I kept the truck warm for the snake.
I'm sorry, is it prejudice of me to not do a snake as an animal story? I try to do cuddly animals. Some people would cuddle with a snake. Looking at you, Byronic. Even a mildly venomous one. A boy got... This is some Lassie shit right here. A boy got stuck in a mine shaft out in Placer County, California. A boy was stuck in a mine shaft. This was his rescue.
Snug on your leg? Yeah. All right. Raise. Yeah.
Open up the Portland gate. Bring the apparatus down just before the split.
Wow. Did they dig that, or was that the cave?
Harness, top's good, legs are good. Waist is good.
Copy. Looks good on there. We're going to a lower. Lower. Copy. Just let me know.
Does that feel like it's snug on your leg? Yeah. All right. Raise.
Yeah.
Placer County, California. These motherfuckers were just fighting fires.
Portland gate. Bring the
They
apparatus.
probably helped out in L.A. Yeah, go down the hole. Down in a hole. Please don't let me sing. Stop letting me sing.
Harness, top's good, legs are good.
Is Right Wing Jesus still in here? Your own Right Wing Jesus. Don't let me sing. Don't let me sing. I want to make sure that you guys, I need to stop singing. I've ran people off. I want to make sure that you guys are safe out there. If you're tendering and you're bumbling, if you're grindering, if you're plenty of fishing, there are romance scams going on.
It is Valentine's Day weekend and love is in the air. More and more these days, that first spark begins with connections we make on our phones and computers. But not all budding online romances are real. Scammers use texts and fake profiles to win the trust of people looking for love and fleece Americans of billions of dollars.
No singing is no profanity.
Spoke to investigative reporter Cesare Podkol, who is writing a book about these scams, to understand how they work and who they target.
In the process of doing my reporting on this, I've spoken to multiple victims who've lost over $1 million, many in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. The losses are really staggering. Really, anyone, old, rich, poor, young, this targets people of all nationalities, all genders, educational backgrounds. Really, it's a universal scam because of that psychological manipulation aspect. So I think all of us have to watch out for the red flags. They involve things like someone being just really friendly, coming out of nowhere and offering to teach you an investment opportunity, sometimes being pushy and
teach you an investment opportunity
you don't feel comfortable doing, like depositing more and more money into an investment opportunity that you start to suspect maybe not what you thought it was.
It's always an investment opportunity. Corwin, are you still here? I've got an investment opportunity for you. Oh, wait a minute.
So watching out for those things, and really just anyone online contacting you out of the blue, offering things that you're not aware of and weren't expecting. Those are the things we should all be watching out for.
And if you are caught up in one of these scams, what are the best ways that you have to get your money back?
So first of all, if you are in the midst of this scam and you're still talking to someone, the best thing you can do really is to ask someone, show them hey, I'm talking with this person. Do you think it's real? Because if you're still doubting it, getting a second opinion from a trusted friend can really help you kind of realize,
a friend will tell you if you're a dumbass or not.
Then once you realize that you have been scammed, the best thing you can do is just report the crime, not only to your local police, but also to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Find your local field office of the U.S. Secret Service.
Invest in JustinFREAKIN Enterprises.
You're often not the only victim.
Guaranteed rate of return and titty slaps.
For many different weeks, sometimes months. And so if you report, you're not only helping yourself, but maybe also other victims, because law enforcement may then be able to cluster those cases together, seize larger amounts of funds, do the investigation, and you may find yourself a year or two later, might end up finding out from law enforcement, hey, they were able to seize.
I tried to make a troll NFT.
Part of the same.
Look, I looked into doing a coin too, but you got to have like $1,000 or $2,000 to start that stuff. So I couldn't do a troll coin because I ain't. Hey, Corwin, let's do a troll coin. Do you know how to do a crypto coin thing, a meme coin? Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Because, troll all the way. It's a great brand. We can pump and dump it.
Website that defrauded a lot of other people. So you're only doing yourself a favor.
The host? I was going to say she looks bored.
Yourself a disfavor by not.
I think that's just her resting face.
Cryptocurrency play here.
It's central. It's really the main way that criminals engage with victims by convincing them to send their money using cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency transfers are instant. They're borderless. The money can go worldwide.
I think that's just the way she'd be looking at you.
So because of that, it's really important for fraud victims to not delay. As soon as they suspect that
I feel like she's judging me all the time.
Fraud, they should report that crime as quickly as possible so that law enforcement can get started tracing that flow of funds.
The people who are reaching out to victims, in many cases, are often victims of human trafficking themselves, right?
Yeah, not always, but in many cases, yes. Because this is part of the business model, unfortunately. And the people behind it, largely, they're Chinese cyber criminal gangs that have been setting up shop in these countries and in many cases recruiting people through human smugglers into these scam centers to do the dirty work. What we're seeing is that people are often tricked online with promises of a well-paying job. And so many young people from other countries where they can't get that kind of salary, they'll jump at that opportunity. They'll fly to Thailand thinking they're going to be somewhere around Bangkok, but instead they get smuggled from there into what really can only be described as scam compounds, like entire buildings built and dedicated for the purpose of online scamming right across the border from Thailand to Myanmar. And it's really nothing short of a crisis.
Is today Sunday?
What we're seeing there.
The Trump administration is working to shut down USAID and also reevaluate all foreign assistance money that goes out the door. How do you think that might impact efforts to combat these fraudsters?
So USAID has a broad portfolio that includes anti-human trafficking work in places like Cambodia. And that's really important because what we're seeing in places like Cambodia, again, are people who are sexual anarchy situations where they're being told to contact strangers abroad in countries like America to try to get them involved in these crypto scams. So
I looked it up, my lord, and it seemed like you needed
the ability of local charities,
a couple $1,000 to get it going.
Survivors to make sure they don't go homeless and making sure they don't get trafficked into those scam centers again is really important. And through those cuts to that funding, it's really
I ain't got a couple grand
for the human trafficking victims, obviously, and it's certainly not good for the potential targets of this fraud, including people in America.
Cesare Podkal, investigative journalist who's working on a book on this topic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Certainly not good for the human trafficking victims. Tonight is the 50th anniversary show of Saturday Night Live. I think it's already gone off. I'm going to watch it after I get off stream tonight. Kind of a big deal. I'm a huge Saturday Night Live fan. I would have watched it live, but I don't like commercials. So we gonna watch it after we get off here with you. But one of my favorites from the show, who I've seen live before, Daryl Hammond, was on Meet the Press this morning.
The iconic Saturday Night Live celebrates its 50th anniversary tonight. In its 5 decades, SNL has spanned 10 presidencies, offering up the...
I figured it could go viral. I would tell you guys not to buy it unless, like, you wanted in before the pump and dump, right? Because I figured just troll coin just seems fun. People would be into troll coin. So, like, if you guys all bought it first, like, we could all make some money off of the idiots that, you know, thought it was cool because it's troll coin.
Definitive impressions of American presidents and becoming a campaign stop for candidates.
Put the final Christmas tree ornament on the tree. No problem.
I hate Chevy. Watching the first season made me hate him even more.
To understand. Is that clear?
Yes. Not got that. I'm talking 3-4% tops, no more than 5. That's it. So read my lips. No.
In a single word, the best argument for his candidacy. Governor Bush? Strategery.
And I can see Russia from my house.
Such great memories there. Only 167 people have landed the dream job as cast member inside Studio 8H. Among them, Daryl Hammond, who has done more than 100 impressions on SNL, including President Bill Clinton, Vice President Al Gore, and President Donald Trump. Hammond.
So when I saw him live, he apparently was on crack real bad at the very end of his SNL run. And he tells this story about going to a crack house to buy crack and somebody freaking out and thinking that he was Bill Clinton.
And has performed for 4 presidents and is now the show's announcer. And Daryl Hammond joins me now for a live Meet the Moment conversation. Daryl Hammond, welcome to Meet the Press.
Hi there, Kristen. It's great to be here with you.
It is so great to have you. Well, congratulations, because NBC is celebrating 50 years of SNL. You were on 14 seasons of those years. Talk about why you think this show has been so beloved for half a century.
Is it beloved?
Because it's so well done.
Is it well done?
You know, I was backstage at that Radio City Music Hall concert the other night, moving 35 bands in and out of that place and timing it all down to the second. It's so well done, you know?
Okay, yeah, the production's well done.
In the world, all the best singers in the world, all the best dancers in the world.
Yeah.
It's just so well done.
It's the precision. You're absolutely right in all of the characters. You've played so many of them. Presidents Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Donald Trump. Do you have a favorite? What's your favorite political impersonation?
Well, you know, we sort of...
Yeah, he thought he was going to get to go back and play Trump.
Daffy Duck, in that, you know, Warner Brothers eventually you could use Daffy Duck for any kind of comedy, any kind of sketch, dramatic readings. He was that versatile. And after we'd done Clinton a number of times, you know, we did him in a musical once. We did a slapstick thing with him one time. It would have to be him. There's no one more colorful that I can think of.
Well, okay, so on that note, just to remind folks, you actually played his clone at the 1997 Radio and Television Correspondents Association dinner. We have this great picture of the two of you standing together. If you can, give us your best President Bill Clinton impersonation this morning.
Well, do you want to do one with me or no?
Sure. Let's do it. You go first.
Okay. Okay, this is how we do it on SNL. We do the thumb and the lip, right?
Okay.
That, right? Even though he never did those things.
He didn't?
And then we do the staircase, it's called. And the staircase is like, I love your shoes. Love your shoes.
Okay, let me try it.
Love your shoes.
Oh, that's so
Try
good.
it.
All right, well, here. I love your shoes. I think you're much better at it.
I know he is.
Here's one of my favorite clips of you. You are playing Tim Russert, the moderator of this program, actually interviewing the real Senator John McCain. I want to play a clip for our viewers. Get your reaction. Prepare for that. Did you watch a bunch of Meet the Press episodes to prepare?
It was written by Jim Downey, who's won all those Emmys, is legendary, fabled writer. In both Downey and Gore, with both Russert and Gore, Downey came to me in my dressing room before the show and literally gave me line readings. He put his head down, had him looking like that. He literally gave me line readings. I copied what I saw him do in my dressing room, both in the Gore Bush debates and with Russert. I mean, that's one of those things. You're assisted by people who win Emmys, writers, hair, makeup, wardrobe, lighting, everything. I mean, there's a whole big team involved in putting that product out there.
Yeah, you put your whole body, heart, and soul into it, and I think that's what made each of those characters so special, Daryl. You know, we live in such divided times right now. What role do you think SNL plays in our politics, in our culture right now?
It's interesting that when you tell a political joke and the audience laughs, you can conclude they basically understand your premise and they basically agree with you. So that's what's being put out there every week. They're taking a look at both sides. Here's what you're looking at these days. Up to you to make a choice.
Finally, Daryl, as we approach tonight's special, what are you looking forward to most? What do you hope people who watch take away from the special tonight?
Oh, it's funny.
They saw the greatest show in history. I mean, I don't know how to put it any other way. It's the most successful show in history. What you're going to see tonight is every star you ever heard of. You're going to see cast members past and present from.
I remember the 40th anniversary special
from the sports world. The biggest, the brightest, the best are going to be there doing their thing tonight, and hope everyone loves it. I'm sure it's going to be great.
All right. Well, I'm going to work on my Bill Clinton impersonation, but thank you so much for joining us. We will be watching, we'll be laughing, and here's to 50 more. Thank you so much, Daryl Hammond.
Oh, God, I don't think he can survive 50 more.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Shut up, Lester. Honestly, 50 is probably a good time to wrap it up. They should just wrap the fucking show up. I say that as a fan. Good round number. Especially if we don't get handed over to like Tina Fey. God damn. Here's a cat swimming.
And cats, they're not usually known for their love of swimming, but one feline in Northern Virginia is hitting the water instead of the gym in an effort to lose weight. Holly is a 13-year-old cat who dislikes the outdoors and other physical activities, but with encouragement from her owner and weekly visits to the Old Town Pet Resort. Holly has managed to lose 1 pound in 6 weeks. Stay with us, everybody. We've got a lot more to come. And
that's
cats,
precious.
they're not usually known for their love of swimming, but one feline in Northern Virginia is hitting the water instead of the gym in an effort to lose weight. Holly is a 13-year-old cat who dislikes the outdoors and other physical activities.
Oh, sweet baby.
And weekly visits.
If you're watching on Twitch, you're heading over to producer Dave and Echoplex Media.
He has managed to lose 1 pound in 6 weeks.
Oh.
We've got a lot more to come. Known for their love of swimming, but
go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before we hit the sack.
In the gym in an effort
I'm JustinFREAKIN.
We'll
see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.
The outdoors and other physical activities.